Alright. You see this guy? These two guys right here? We're gonna be talk. Well, this guy right here is actually one guy. We should know about that. We're gonna be talking about this guy. They look the same, right? Yeah, they look the same. And he goes by Officer Tatum. Officer Brandon Tatum. We're gonna be talking about him and what he is doing with the family of Nolan Wells, which is her is the wife of him, which is Nolan Wells' mother and father. And he is doing a smear campaign. He is smearing the names of and the reputation of Nolan Wells' mother and father, even though they speaking the truth. And for what? While we gonna be while we talking about this, I'm not gonna pull up the video. Why should I? We're just gonna talk about this while I'm doing something, basically. But why am I speaking about this? Because I am part of the black community. I am mixed with black and white, all the, but I consider myself black. Like I keep on saying, I keep I keep on saying this. I consider myself black and white. I consider myself black, I mean. So, while I'm talking about this, I'm download and figure out how to use this VM app, basically. So, I'm gonna pull it up once I get, started and downloaded and all that stuff. So, I'm gonna configure it, basically. So, the mother and father of Nolan Wells, they're going after the people who killed their son. And we all know they're telling the truth. Why would they lie about something that happened on July 4th, which we all know the police, the family is trying to hide? We all see that the police are hiding certain things about the case. You see that the family of the people who are trying to hide and trying to get around justice and trying to not become criminals are really going into their contacts and paying off people that how many people they can get on their side to protect their children, even though they couldn't hide the fact that the phone recording has came up from Cito. Uh, even though someone revealed that the examiner of the autopsy uh, in Mississippi tried to take out certain parts of Nolan Wells to hide the evidence of what they did to him. Even two famous people, Colin Kaepernick and I forgot who else, raised money to get the body of Nolan Wells to Washington, D.C. to do a real autopsy and not trying to hide anything from the people who should know and deserve to know what's going on about this case. We seen these people try to kill our people. So within this year, it's They've been trying to kill us. They've been trying to do anything in their path to go about erasing our people. And for what? All because they don't like us, to make us come out in protest so they can kill us some more. This, and we all know Officer Tatum is sucking dick, sucking Trump's dick. We all know that. He wants to be white so fucking much, bruh. Even though he should look at himself at the mirror one day, just one day, because he is blacker than me. He is blacker than my sis. He is blacker than some of the people I fucking know. And they are black. They light skinned black. I have dark skinned black friends too. So him being around what, 6 or 7 complexions darker than me. Uh so why does he want to be white so fucking much? I get that. He might have been a police officer. He calls himself Officer Tatum. I don't know what happened, but or why he became what he is, but we all know black people who are in these type of positions, they become raccoons themselves, knowing that these same people that they think they have their backs gonna turn on them whenever they have their wishes or whenever something happens. They turn their backs. They're gonna be brothers with you and all friendly with you until something happens. And I don't get why he wanna risk that. Just be where he at right now. These people are going about this case so strongly that they are dissecting certain organs of Nolan Wells that they know is gonna help with the justice of bringing people who done this shit to jail. And we all know why this is happening. It's because we all know he's at in presidency. It's Trump. And he ain't gonna do anything about it because he is a racist, fascist motherfucker. And if it's about people who are the same skin as him going after our people, what do you expect to happen, bruh? What do you expect to happen? You're gonna side with them and not do anything. It is crazy how shit like this happens. And for I don't even want to say this, but for Officer Tatum to be supposedly a man of God, and we all know I'm atheist, and for him to go about shit knowing that his God wouldn't like this at all, yet he thinks he can do whatever he can just to be vengeful of his own people, bruh. It's crazy how it is. It is really crazy how it is. I don't get why people who have the same skin as us, people who are black, becomes raccoons. Yeah, they were born in a white community with their parents being black or mixed or something. They know you there are so many articles, so many stories about what is going on with the white community going after our people. But yet they want to become the people who are doing this to us. They just want to become them. This Officer Tatum bitch, he be sucking way too much dick. And for him to try to expose the husband and wife of, well, the father and mother of Nolan Wells, it shows that even our own, when they feel as though they don't want to be like us, and we know this in the past, if they don't want to be like us, they will turn to whoever, whatever society that is on top and who is controlling things, just to be as corrupt as the white person or the person who's doing the corrupting or the community that's doing the corrupting. It's bewildering for our own people to betray us. And we got plenty of them. We got plenty of them in our community. It's fucking crazy. It's very fucking crazy. Just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why is this not working for me. Let me install this. Maybe I done it incorrectly. So I wonder why he's going when it comes to Officer Tatum. Why is he going after these people so much when he knows all too well that this family is in the right and they are really trying to get justice for their son. You seen in that last video, the interview with Don Lemon, the husband was about to tear up. Tear up. His eyes was glassy. He had glassy eyes. And he was driving, so he had to stay strong and not cry. It seems like he was the one who was driving. It's crazy. These people want justice for their son, but yet there are so many people even on in our community that are going after them and trying to hide so much. Officer Tatum is so much of a closeted, you already know, that he said he wouldn't cry for his own wife, but cry when Charlie Kirk got shot. He will cry over another man, but won't cry if something happens with his wife. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. It's so damning. It's so embarrassing. It's fucking everything, bro. It's I don't know the words to describe this shit because it's stupid, bro. For go full flame after this family who only wants to get justice for their son, but not help them. When you have this big ass channel, he instead of just going and support his own kind just once, just supporting his own kind, going out the bat for his own kind once, because he knows that the people who went after this Nolan Wells is in the wrong. He knows that. You don't see the Hodge twins saying shit about it, but we all know if Officer Tatum is gonna say something about it, then what do you expect? More of our own kind that are raccoons are gonna say something. They're gonna come up from the ground and say something about it. And it's not gonna be in support of our people. It's not gonna be in support of the family of Nolan Wells. It's gonna be sucking the tits of these white communities. And we all know these people are gay as fuck. These people are so fucking gay, bro. I'm sorry to the LGBT community, but what do you expect for me to say? These people are retarded individuals that rather do so much for the people that are not even their own community, and knowing that these people will outright turn on them and do them the same way they do us, but yet they rather go willy nilly against their own community just to save these people when they know for sure these people are in the wrong. I mean, where after before I do this, I want to install the this, and then after I install it, I'm boot it up, try to find the file, and then boot up because I need to find the file for the for this for this software to boot it up because I need to put the software inside that folder. Let me find the folder for it's just crazy how shit is with our community. For people who will actually, let's see these videos. I feel as though I need to react. I mean, actually, we're gonna listen to this one, which is by Poetic Flacco. I know I said we not gonna react, but I got nothing to say. I got my head in. Few
You're such a
subjects.
liar and a fraud. Nobody have ever said that. Why are you?
All right, here we go. I'ma just got my headphones. Got my headphones. All right, let's start this shit.
Yo, these people, bro. And this is why when you deal with people like Tatum, I hate when y'all go. You're such a liar and a fraud. Nobody have ever said that. Why are you? Yo, these people, bro. And this is why when you deal with people like Tatum, I hate when y'all go into these discussions with good faith, because these people deal with bad faith. When you're debating with somebody like Tatum, you have to be as bad faith as him. But Tatum was brought on Steve.
And we shouldn't care how bad we go, how down we go, because they will go down further. If we don't go worse, they're gonna go worser. They act like these people act like Trump because they want to be like Trump. And it's crazy. It's really fucking crazy how we gotta suffer through these white communities going after us while the government supports it, and then we get people like Tatum that betray their own communities into being just like the communities that threaten us.
Smith show to debate a federal prosecutor on his Nolan Wall situation. Now, this entire debate, if you want to call it that, is just Tatum being disingenuous and bad faith and disrespecting Nolan Wall's family. I think any accusation of being bad faith and being race hustlers in a situation where a mother is trying to get justice for her son is disrespect. Straight up. You're disrespecting a mother who wants justice for her son. So here's the debate. We're going to go through it. Let's go.
Welcome to the latest edition, the special edition of Straight Shooter. As always, I appreciate the love and support that y'all have been giving me. Thanks so much for all the love and support. Just continue to support Shooter. Just go to Stephen A. Smith, Shooter, and obviously you'll be the member of the Shooter family. A lot of stuff to get into, no doubt. We're going to have another panel today. It's going to be my fourth panel. And it's the case of Nolan, the college football player out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, who died. Body was found July 6th, 2 days after going away with some friends on July 4th. A lot of people are talking about this story because, according to the reports, he was a black dude, and he was the only black dude with a few white dudes, and they all came back alive, and he didn't. Clearly, since that time, we've learned via reporting on the part of some people, via an autopsy report and other things, that there are some conflicting facts that need to be brought to light. And I think that it's time to have a discussion about this from the vantage point of two completely different sides. One is a conservative, one is a liberal, one's a former police officer, one is a civil rights attorney and a legal mind. It's a lot to get into, make no mistake about it. It's going to be Officer Tatum on the right. It's going to be Charles F. Coleman Jr.
Bro, I don't like that too, right? I said former police officer. Listen, bro, Tatum is...
Okay, we're gonna listen to this while it's in the background. I'm gonna pull up my QEMU. So, yeah.
A YouTuber. Call it that, right? And then you didn't say, yo, this dude that who Tatum is debating, by the way, just so you guys know, this is a former federal prosecutor. This is a person who just a few years ago was investigating and building cases like this. This is somebody with immeasurable experience in something like this. Tatum has no right. Tatum has no credibility. Tatum, listen, man. Tatum has no business debating somebody like this on his Nolan Wells case. It's really that simple. But Stephen A. Smith introduced Tatum, right? He juiced up his credentials a little bit, right? Wasn't Tatum an officer for 6 months or some nonsense like that? I'm not sure, right? So you juiced up Tatum's credentials, but you made sure to kind of undersell the brother's credential who he's debating. He's debating a former federal prosecutor. That's who he's debating on this situation. Straight up.
And there's clearly a lot of things to get into, conflicting accounts. One friend claimed Wells chose to stay behind to talk to a girl. Wells' family strongly disputes this, stating they raised him to never separate from his group. There's a boat issue. Phone records and dispatch audio indicate the friend's boat suffered a mechanical failure around 4 p.m. as they left the island when calling for a tow. The operator stated everyone on board was in good health. There's also the issue of Nolan Wells' body being found after being reported missing by his mother near midnight. A multi-agency search was launched. A National Park Service ranger found Wells' body floating face down on the northwestern tip of Horn Island on July 6th. Again, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump is representing the family. And Officer Tatum, as in Brandon Tatum, traveled to Mississippi, interviewed one of the boys involved in the case, but according to him, he probably interviewed several folks in attendance that July 4th day. So there's a lot of stuff to get into, and without further ado, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I know very little about this case other than what I've read and what I've seen on television. I've heard the reports in
So why are you moderating a discussion on it? Pause. Oh my God, that stutter was bad. Then why are you moderating a discussion on it if you know nothing about this case? Yo, bro, we live in a matrix, homie. If you know nothing about this case, if you know very little about this case, then why are you moderating a discussion on it? How does that make sense? I'm so confused.
So rather than speculate any longer, let's get to the bottom of it to the best that we can at this particular moment in time, with one autopsy having been done, another autopsy being performed, and evidence emanating from that's been deemed incomplete, to say the least. There's a lot to get into. So without further ado,
I gave you a chance yesterday, and now you're back. You banned.
Get your ears perked up.
You banned, K-Monty.
Get your thought process circulating and percolating. It's time to get into it right now. My first guest is a civil rights attorney, a former federal prosecutor, and an MS Now legal analyst. He writes the What Matters Now newsletter on Beehive, and you can catch him on his podcast, The Brothers Briefing. He is joined by a former Arizona police officer turned conservative YouTube political commentator and host of the Officer Tatum podcast. Please welcome to the show, Charles F. Coleman Jr.
No spamming, guys. No
Officer
spamming.
Brandon Tatum. Good afternoon, fellas. How y'all doing? How's everything?
Blessed.
I'm doing well, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Charles Coleman Jr., let's start off with you. What can you tell us? The Nolan Wells case has been in the news for nearly 3 weeks now. For those who may not be aware of the case or have not kept up with the facts, just to recap, he was an 18-year-old college football player from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. On July 4th, he and a group of friends traveled by private boat to Horn Island, an uninhabited barrier island off the Mississippi coast. Wells was the only black person on the boat. Wells was last seen on the island around 3 p.m. His friends returned to the mainland without him, and as a result, ultimately, a couple of days later, he was found dead. Charles Coleman Jr., at this particular juncture, what's on your mind in terms of this case? What's missing? What are your thoughts?
Stephen A., we just saw the family release their independent autopsy results yesterday, which were conducted by Dr. Roger Mitchell, who is the president of the National Medical Association. And those results were inconclusive. They were able to establish that Nolan Wells did not die by accident, that he did not die of natural causes, but at the same time that they were not able to establish that this was a homicide. In fact, those results established that it was not a homicide. Now, one important caveat to note is that the chief medical officer from the state of Mississippi, the sheriff's office, removed the throat from Nolan Wells' autopsy when their autopsy was conducted first. We have not heard the results of the state's autopsy, but we know that when Roger Mitchell examined the body for the family, that the throat and other organs have been removed. So that your listeners understand, that's not abnormal. That is something that takes place normally during the case of an investigation and of an autopsy. So there's nothing that was wrong there. But at this point, Dr. Roger Mitchell, who did the independent autopsy from the family, has not been able to confirm any sense of foul play as of yet. That was undecided or undecisive. That does not mean that foul play may not have occurred. It just means that the autopsy that was conducted by the family did not show that conclusively. He saw some potential trauma to Nolan Wells' head. That was not something that he was able to explain as being the result of foul play. And we have yet to hear the state's autopsy and what they found or what their findings were. You may recall, and listeners may recall, that initially the sheriff's office said that they had no reason to suspect that foul play was afoot. And what I would say that this autopsy confirms from the family is that while that cannot be certainly confirmed, it still can't be ruled out. So finally, there are 60 witnesses that have been interviewed in the course
And we all know this is a lie. We all know this is a lie.
of this investigation by the sheriff's office. There's likely going to be a presentation to the grand jury, and we don't know what the toxicology report will show from Nolan Wells because much of that is in the hands of the state. But as
Don't expect nothing from that grand jury, by the way. Don't expect it. Don't expect a thing from that grand jury, because how they presented that grand jury, they try to make it seem like, the DA was going out of her way to bring it to the grand jury. Come to find out, the grand jury thing is just a routine thing. Right? For any death where the cause is unknown, they investigate, they put the facts together, and then they present it to the grand jury. But if you present something to the grand jury that's slighted in the direction of no foul play, the grand jury doesn't do anything about it. So do not expect anything from that grand jury. Don't expect a thing from that grand jury at all. And then also too, now I'll be real, this brother here, like Stephen A. Smith may have given us an interview with 2 tap dancers, to be honest, bro. He may have given us an interview with 2 tap dancers. Stephen A. Smith may have pulled off a slick one, right? He may have pulled off a slick one because the brother says he doesn't see any problem with them taking out the throat. Cool. But then why didn't the throat get packed up with the other organs that y'all put and sent it over to the independent autopsy? Y'all did your autopsy because the family allowed y'all to do your autopsy first. So once y'all did your autopsy, the independent autopsy needed like Nolan's throat, his lungs, et cetera, to determine his cause of death. Was his lungs waterlogged? Because if it was waterlogged, then he drowned. If it was not waterlogged, then he did not drown. He was murdered before he hit the water. But an independent autopsy who needed the lungs and the throat to determine the cause of death, he couldn't get that. Because they kept it. So why would this brother say, who is supposed to be on the side of no? Why would this brother say there's nothing wrong with that? So I don't know, bro. This brother sounds like a tap dancer too, to be honest.
I want to know what the state's autopsy is going to say, and what are the witness accounts that they are going to put forward in the grand jury.
Officer Tatum, you personally you traveled to Mississippi, from my understanding, to personally interview one of the young men who left the island without Nolan. Why should the public trust whatever account is coming from them right now, in your estimation, based on what you've learned? First things first, I shouldn't say that. First things first, what did you deduce from the conversation you had from one of the friends that was with Nolan Wells? What did you take away from that you'd like the public to know?
Stephen A., I want to make sure this is clear. I actually spoke to all the boys that were being accused. I spoke to family members. I spoke to also their attorneys. It's just that the one young man had the, I wouldn't say courage, because others had reasons why they didn't want to come on the camera, but he was able to come on the camera, and I interviewed him. And I also interviewed another young man who was black, who was there, who had his own personal accounts of what happened. I'm not asking people to believe or not believe. I just wanted to get people to.
He was mixed that is a raccoon, just like Tatum. He's gonna only interview people who has his own beliefs. That's who he's gonna interview. He's not gonna interview anyone who doesn't go against his beliefs, because he knows his beliefs are incorrect.
The information. So nobody.
Bro, that's a lie. Tatum, that's a lie, bro. Your entire interview was slanted in one direction. If you were somebody who was not trying to do an interview to convince anybody of anything, you wouldn't do an interview and ask slanted questions, bro. You literally asked, what do you think of them bringing Benjamin Crump and making this a race issue? If you were somebody who was, again, you could have asked that question. Oh, yo, what do you think of the work that Benjamin Crump has been doing for Nolan Wells' family? But every question you asked was slanted in the direction of they are race hustling, they're grifting, nothing bad happened here. All right, these people are just doing this for money. That was your narrative, and you pushed it during those interviews, bro. So now you're trying to race hustle and grift as this neutral arbitrator of justice, and you're not. Cut it out.
Nobody had heard from the young boys. Nobody had heard their accounts, and a lot of misinformation was put out there. Some intentionally, some maybe not intentionally, but they were. It was very detrimental.
Black friend was more than an Uncle Ruckus
for the investigation into Nolan Wells' death. Was punitive. They came out and started with race. It had to be something nefarious because these boys are white for any other reason. So I wanted to go out and hear the full story. And what I deduced from the interview and talking to everybody is that these young boys had nothing to do with what ended up happening to Nolan Wells, and also they were best friends. These kids had so many pictures, so many text messages of them.
Man, stop it, bro. Bro, all these kids came out and said, yo, they were Nolan Wells' best friend, right? They all came out. First off, every single one of them says Nolan Wells was my best friend. I can't speak on his relationship with other people, but he was my best friend. You know, all the friends that came out and said Nolan Wells was their best friend, the follow-up question was, have you met Nolan Wells' mama? And they all said no.
Obviously.
These people claim they was Nolan Wells' friend or best friend. Again, they all said best friend, by the way. Now, I don't know how many best friends somebody can have, but they all said Nolan Wells was their best friend. And they say, yo, we've been best friends since like middle school. They've been best friends with Nolan Wells since middle school and never met his mama, never been to his house. Come on, bro. Yo, what are we talking about here, bro?
So
man, cut it out,
so
bro.
many text messages of them being closer to Nolan than any other friend group. And also one thing that shocked me was that this was an island, not secluded, not an island with 5 or 6 people on it. It was an island where there was thousands.
Why would that have shocked you? I'm so confused. Like, what type of nonsense are we talking about?
Hundreds of boats. And also,
yeah, it was a July 4th celebration. Nobody thought the island was a secluded island. What are you talking about?
so a lot of people could verify the statements that was made from some of these young men. So I really wish.
No, but the people who could verify the statements was Katie, and Katie literally gave a contradictory statement. Like the statement you heard, Warren told you, yo, we called for Nolan in front of Katie, and then Katie says, oh yeah, I heard them calling for Nolan, but that was the last time I seen Nolan was when they called him over. So Warren is claiming, yo, we was calling for Nolan in front of Katie, but he stayed with Katie. Katie said he didn't stay with me. He went with his friends. Man, bro, y'all got to stop this, bro.
We could have started at a point to say,
Bad faith.
what happened to Nolan Wells? Let's work together as a community. Let's talk to these young men, talk to other people, and let's find out what happened to Nolan instead of jumping the race.
That's literally what the family did. The family literally said, hey, what happened to Nolan? The father went over to grab Nolan keys. The friends was in a deep sleep, woke him up acting like the father was bothering him or something. Said, I don't know where them keys at. I don't know. Bro, it took one call for a girl to say, bro, the person who told you he don't got Nolan car keys, the keys is on his Xbox. All right? Again, Nolan Wells' mama and daddy have came out and says, yo, this is not about race, but we'll be remiss if we ignore the signs. So everybody has said it's not about race that's speaking for Nolan, but yet Tatum has decided that he's going to wage war against the very family who have said it's not about race. Now listen, man, Poetic Flacco, I don't speak for the family. None of the content creators speak for the family. Benjamin Crump and Nolan Wells' parents speak for Nolan Wells. They said it's not about race, but we can't ignore the dynamics here that's at play. So what are you talking about?
Officer Tatum, how do you know that it was misinformation that was put out there? How did you come to the conclusion that something was misinformation? Explain that. Is it just according to their account or something else?
No, initially I knew it was hogwash because when Al Sharpton and them got on TV, they automatically made an inference to say it was something that had to happen because these kids were white. It was white kids with one black boy. There's no evidence.
You're such a liar. You're such a fraud, Tatum. Nobody ever came out and said this must happen because they're white. That's not even a logical statement. This must have happened because they're white. Nobody have ever said that ever. Find me the statement. Find me that. Tatum, listen, man. Find me that statement, Tatum, and I'll retire as a content creator. Find me the statement where Benjamin Crump or Al Sharpton says this must have happened because the people were white. Are you dumb? You're such a liar and a fraud. Nobody have ever said that. Why are you, these people, bro? And this is why when you deal with people like Tatum, I hate when y'all go into these discussions with good faith because these people deal with bad faith. When you're debating with somebody like Tatum, you have to be as bad faith as him. He's a liar.
black boy.
Nobody ever said that.
There's no evidence to project that unless you believe every white person is nefarious.
Nobody has ever said, you just made it up, bruh. Yo, how are you compiling on a lie that you made up?
In their dealings with black people. And so I thought that was suspicious on his face. And then they said that Nolan was the only black kid. He was not the only black kid. Many of his black friends were also at the island with him. So some of those things that started to come out, I knew that they were not.
Nobody ever said that Nolan was the only black kid on the entire island. What we said was, it looks like from his friend group, Nolan was the only black kid. And did we lie? Did we lie when we say Nolan was the only black kid in his friend group? Did we lie? Javon was not a part of that friend group. They told Javon he got to catch the other boat. Come on. Come on now, bruh. All right, come on, bruh. The Uncle Ruckus, who did an interview to be Nolan Wall's other black friend, he sat down with Tatum, and that man says, my black side ain't never been here for me, man. These good white folks have been the only family I've known. Okay, cool. That man was speaking in a southern twang I ain't never heard on a black person. Listen, we know some deep down south black folks. He was speaking in a twang we ain't never heard from black folks in life.
Yup.
So the only quote unquote half or biracial black person identifies as white. And then that person says, outside of me and Nolan, who was, I guess, the only people mixed with black, we had a Mexican and we had an Asian. Man, cut it out, bruh. So we ain't lie when we say Nolan was the only black person in that friend group. We ain't lie. But nobody has ever said that Nolan was the only black person on the island. I'm sure there was about 4 or 5 out of 2,000. So Tatum has this strategy where Tatum will create a lie that he made up. This is a lie that Officer Tatum made up. But now he's about to debunk the lie that he made up. Right? And so Tatum is debating essentially with himself.
Being truthful about what happened.
Charles, your thoughts, your response to what Officer Tatum just said.
I don't necessarily know that the initial statements about Nolan being with some of his white friends is entirely factual. I also don't know that it is a nefarious statement in as much as these are facts. He was with a number of different white boys, or a number of different boys who are white. I think the problem with what Officer Tatum has just pointed out is that there is an underpinning of race when you're having a conversation about the types of things that happen.
Master Tatum, we sick boss, that's a fact.
Happened to black boys and black people in Mississippi such that it cannot be summarily dismissed. I did not necessarily jump to any conclusion, but the history of what race relations have been in Mississippi and how we have not necessarily been safe has caused me to take a special look at this case. It doesn't mean that I'm accusing anyone of anything. It doesn't mean that I do not believe in fighting the process. But at the same time, I am not going to ignore the facts, which you just pointed out. These are facts. He may have been with other black people, but we have seen the pictures, we have seen the photos. There were a number of people who were gathered out there for the July 4th holiday, but Nolan Wells was with 3.
Yo, bro, Tatum is so bad faith. Bro, look at Tatum's reaction. Yo, I've never seen a more middle of the road fence sitting position on this particular issue than this dude. This dude gave the most middle of the road fence sitting position, which is, I'm not saying nothing bad happened definitively. What I am saying is there's certain facts that needs to be investigated, and there are certain facts that are concerning. That's like the most middle of the road, can't argue with position ever. That's the position that Tatum is claiming that he's representing. Which is why when you see Tatum's reaction, this face, it tells you Tatum is bad faith, and Tatum is going into this looking to accuse the family through dog whistles, all right, of doing something wrong. Because this brother just gave the most, again, I'm extreme. He's not as extreme as me. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? But he's not as extreme as most of us. He's just not. All right. He's not as extreme as the most of us. He's just not. Okay. He's not. But for Tatum to have a problem with this middle of the road fence sitting, people can't really argue with opinion. already tells you Tatum is actually the extremist in the situation. Tatum is actually the one who's grifting in the situation. He's the one that's looking to assign blame to Nolan Wall's family and friends, which is just nasty.
Boys who happen
Because
to
how
be
do you-
white. Those are facts.
Man, come on, man.
He was with, but the thing is that it's facts without context. He was with more than just 3 white boys. That's the problem. There was over 20, 30 kids that got on 3 boats, and they all went to the island together. They didn't just travel with Nolan and just these 3 boys.
He was he was on 3 boats with 30 people. 2 of them, no. One of them was Nolan Walls, who was black. They claimed Javon was on the 3rd boat. Javon's a black kid. Cool. So it was 2, maybe 3 black kids on a boat with 30. Okay, cool. There was 30 white kids on the boat. What are we talking? How does that make it better?
Warren wasn't even on the boat with Nolan when Nolan went out to the island. So some of those things were mischaracterizations of what actually.
I'm sorry I keep pausing. Again, disingenuous here, Tatum. Let's rewind it back real quick. And you're about to see how disingenuous and how much of a bad faith liar Tatum is. Watch
They
this.
didn't just travel with Nolan and just these 3 boys. Many of the boys that they're accusing, including Warren, wasn't even on the boat with Nolan.
You see, many of the boys they are accusing wasn't even on the boat. When we heard the audio, in fact, forget the audio. When Warren sat in front of Officer Tatum, what did Warren say? Oh, I was on Wyatt's boat on the way back. One of my friends in front of me was calling Nolan over to get on the boat. Didn't Warren say that he was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get on when they was going back? See, so Tatum will say, hey, Warren didn't go on the boat with Nolan to the island, but like leaves out, Warren was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get on the way back. When you listen to the audio where they're saying, oh my God, Nolan, is he dead? Is he dead? You also hear them saying, Warren. So again, this bad faith, disgusting liar will tell you, hey, man, Warren was not on the boat to the island. They out here including Warren in the situation for no reason, but neglect to tell you that Warren admits to Tatum's face that he was supposed to be on the boat. No, he was on the boat with Wyatt, the very same boat that Nolan was supposed to be on the way back. In the audio, the emergency call, they're literally screaming, Warren. Warren admits to Tatum he hopped on the boat and he was helping to fix the pump as well. So again, he's bad faith. He will lie to your face if he has to, which is why I hate when y'all do these debates and y'all try to be principled. These people are not principled. These people are liars, right? If you got to be bad faith to slay a bad faither, be bad faith as well. How he conveniently leaves out that Warren told him to his face that he was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get
Basically, fight fire with fire. That's all he's saying. Fight fire with fire.
on their way back to on their way back home. The audio, you hear them screaming Warren's name. Man, come on, bro.
Island. So some of those things were mischaracterized.
Yo, it does not matter if the audio came out after this debate. Warren told Tatum to his face, I hopped on Wyatt's boat and I was helping fix the pump. I was there when we was calling Nolan over to come on a boat. Nolan stayed with Katie. Katie says, no, Nolan went with them. So according to Katie, Nolan went on the boat that Warren claimed he was on. So it doesn't matter if that audio came out afterwards. He told Tatum to his face. Tatum conveniently leaves it out because Tatum is a bad faith liar. Tatum is a fraud.
Characterizations of what actually happened. And the thing is that I don't think it's fair to say because history has shown in part that white people or black people have had injustices that all of a sudden you project that into a new situation. Black people have done nefarious things to other black people. Does that mean that you automatically jump to saying, oh, black people must be wrong in this situation? Because he had his black friends there too. And why nobody's questioning them? Why nobody's saying, why didn't the black friends rescue him? What did the black kids know about Nolan? And many of them said that they saw him last when the white boys had left at 4:30. So
Wait, didn't a black friend sit in front of Tatum? Wait, hold on, bro. Didn't a black friend sit in front of Tatum and tell Tatum that he's been getting death threats? that he's been getting blamed. Didn't he tell you that I came out to defend these white folks as a black man thinking that black folks will support me, but black folks told me that I'm not black enough? Or sorry, that black folks are also on my tail? So one of the black friends sat in front of you and told you to your face that he's getting the same backlash his white friends is getting, but now you're saying we picking and choosing. All right, bro, Tatum, yo, at this point, bro, I don't know why y'all keep on platforming this man, bro. He's a fraud.
I just think that the race should never be interjected. Nolan's friends told me, and they proved to me that they were really close to him and they were some of his best friends. They said Nolan would have been incredibly upset at the way people are framing his death and going after his friends with no evidence.
Officer Tatum, hold on, Charles. I would say this to you, Officer Tatum. I get where you're coming from. And by the way, I appreciate the context and I appreciate the reporting on your part, because numerous reports that I had read was talking about how he was the only black kid there. He was a black kid with a few white boys, and you articulating that fact is very important. I think that's important and fair to point out.
Watch that back,
but
though.
what do you say to folks that will ask this kind of a question? He's on a boat, he's on an island, and according to numerous reports, he talked about staying behind and traveling back with a different set of company. Yet his car keys and his phone was left on a boat that he had traveled to those guys with. So what teenager do you know is saying he's staying someplace, but he's going to leave his car keys and his phone on the boat with the guys that he arrived at the island with? That does seem a bit suspicious, particularly when the guy's mother, Nolan Wells' mother, had used some app to locate the phone.
And remember when Tatum interviewed the friend, right? He talked about everything up until why in the hell would he leave his phone behind? So he talked about he left his phone on the boat because the water was waist deep and he ain't want his phone to be wet. So he left the phone on the boat. But he doesn't talk about how y'all claim y'all was calling Nolan over and Nolan says, nah, I'm staying. But Nolan at no point said, hey, I'm staying on the island. Give me my phone, please. Now, Tatum is shaking his head as if Stephen Smith is saying anything that's like that's not reasonable.
These are reports. I'm not pretending to know, Officer Tatum. These are what the report said. What do you say to that?
And this is where I feel like Benjamin Crump and them should be sued for them putting out this information without facts. Let me point the facts out. Without context, it sounds bizarre. But when you put it in the context that a lot of people left their phones on the boat that left. Many kids came to get their phone after they left the lake. Nolan was with a girl. It's not shocking that Nolan would have said, hey, man, you guys had to leave, because they had to leave in an emergency situation.
What does Nolan being with a girl have to do with him leaving his phone behind? He was with a girl on the island. If y'all are leaving, hey, bro, give me my phone when y'all leave. Why would he elect to stay on the island and then pick up his phone 4 hours later? Why? Why wouldn't he just hold on to his phone and then put it on another boat if you claim there were other boats there that Nolan was going to take back home?
It wasn't like they had time to prep and everything. The boat was sinking, so they had to go. And they told Nolan, get on the boat, get on the effing boat, man, let's go. And he like, no, I'm finna hang out with this girl. I saw evidence of that, and others who had sent messages that I read that said that they asked Nolan to go and he didn't want to go. Now,
no, the message he's talking about is with Katie. When Katie says, the last time I seen Nolan was when y'all was calling him over. And that directly contradicts what they claim. If they claim that Nolan stayed with Katie on the island, then Katie last time seeing Nolan wouldn't be when the friends was calling him over. That indicates that Nolan went with the friends if the last time Katie seen him was when the friends was calling him over.
a lot of people left their phones on the boats because they're sitting in chest deep water and it's a bunch of people out there. The reception is not very good. So most people did not have their phone with them. Now, the phone and the key situation, people need to understand the context.
Man, that reception was awfully good when they made that emergency call. That reception was awfully fine and awfully great when they made that emergency call to get them help with the boat. Nah, hold on, bro. Hold on now. That reception was awfully fine. That reception was crisp when they made that emergency call on the boat that we heard. Tatum, nothing Tatum is saying makes sense here. No, bruh. No, you're not saying, hey, I'm going to stay on this island with a girl who, by the way, I just met, who number I don't have yet. Don't pass me my phone so I could get her number. Don't pass me my phone so I could be in possession of it. Now, again, it makes sense why he wanted his phone on the boat while they're on an island. But if they are leaving, why in the world would he want what? Cool. If he would have taken a boat back, what would he have done once he landed? Once he got to the mainland, what would he have done now to get a ride home if his phone isn't in his hand? How would he have contacted them to get his phone if his phone is not? It makes no sense. It makes sense why the phone is on the boat while he's in water. But once you're leaving, give me my phone. That right there is the natural, logical. Give me my phone. Man, cut it out, bro.
His keys with him. Because they were on a boat driving 7 miles out to an island. His keys had always been at the residence where his car was. So when the guys go back, they text Nolan's mother. This is where it ticks me off. They showed me a phone call where immediately the first phone call that was made concerning Nolan was Warren called Nolan's mom, and she hung up the phone on him the first time because she didn't know who he was. The second call, he told her, hey, Nolan haven't come back. Do you know, have you heard from him?
Okay, that debunks the best friend theory because Nolan is your best friend and his mom don't even know your name or voice. Cut it out. Okay. And secondly as well, if you leave your homie on the island, right? And you leave your homie at the function and you go home and you don't hear from your homie in an hour or two, would you automatically go to panic mode, calling Coast Guards, calling authorities, calling the mom? Would you automatically go into panic mode? Most of us won't really think anything of it unless you know that something nefarious took place at that island. Unless, hey, bruh, Nolan is not good. Nolan is doing very bad right now. We left that dead body at the island. Hey, mama, you should probably be tapping in right now. If you leave your homie at the function and you home chilling, are you automatically in frantic mode an hour afterwards? Or is that something you don't even think of?
And then they called the Coast Guard. So his mother was very much aware that they had Nolan's phone. His mother did not have to track the phone through Life 360. His mother didn't come get the phone. Another parent of a black kid who was out there with Nolan came to get her son's phone and Nolan's phone. So why didn't Al Sharpton or any of them ask these boys what happened, have them show evidence, and then present it to the public?
They did a 3-hour interview with you that was about 6 parts long, and nothing they presented to you is evidence or useful in this case. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And this theory and this nonsense that you believe that Nolan parents, they didn't ask the friend what they know the night Nolan went missing, you're out of your mind. Of course they asked them. Of course they did. What are you talking about? You think that when Nolan disappeared and when the parents was trying to locate Nolan, they didn't ask the friend, hey, what happened? What do y'all know? You think, Tatum, that you are the only person who asked these kids, what do y'all know? You think the mama who's online begging for any answer she could get never had a conversation with the friend to get what they know? The mama received what the friends told her. She's just saying it doesn't make sense and something is very off about this picture. That's what they're saying.
Trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
Do you know hold on, Charles. Do you know whether or not Al Sharpton and those guys had asked to talk to the kids and the kids refused to talk to them? Do you know
No, they told me
truth to that?
They told me that they haven't heard anything from Al Sharpton or anybody that tried to contact them. This is what they told.
But the parents already talked to him and the parents already have their statements already. The parents told Al Sharpton and Ben, this is what they told us. What further? Listen, bro, we're not about to have 3, 4, 5, 6 discussions so y'all can tell us the exact same thing y'all told us night one. What is there to be talked about? Y'all already told us.
Just where y'all parents had communicated and reached out to Benjamin Crump his team and said, we would love to communicate with you guys. Any questions you have, we want to talk to you guys so you can get the context. Also, they messaged Nolan's mother multiple times about communicating and saying, hey, if you need anything, if you want to talk, we can give you the context of what happened. And nobody reached out to these boys. And I saw evidence of this, which is what frustrated me about this in the first place.
Charles, floor is yours.
So here's the thing, Officer Tatum, we're not going to litigate the facts on here from one side of someone who's had an opportunity to talk to a sample size of people who were involved in this investigation. Mm-hmm. You and I know just as well that the real issue here is that the people who conducted the investigation, i.e. the Mississippi Sheriff's Department, who've talked to over 60 witnesses in this case, have not yet presented that case or their findings to a grand jury, and they've been extremely tight-lipped with respect to what they have found and what it is that they know. Where I'm going with this is, regardless of who you may have spoke to, who Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton may have spoken to, what information they have had, we are all trying to piece this together. And so it is equally as unfair to present a certain set of facts as if this is the final context of things, when in reality, we don't know. What I will say about the overall situation is that for me, as a civil rights attorney, I am looking at this and I am saying that there needs to be a greater sense of transparency from the Sheriff's Department, because they are the ones who have spoken to most of the parties who have been involved in this case. They've conducted over 60 witness interviews. They've done the toxicology report. They have the autopsy. So these are the people who are truly from an information place to give the public the most accurate picture. So I am not calling what you're putting out misinformation, but what I am saying is that is just an equally biased and slanted point of view in the opposite way, because it lacks the full context. So because of that, let me finish. It's disingenuous intellectually, number one, to dismiss the notion of race, because that is choosing to ignore the history in America that we have faced. Number two, it's equally disingenuous to play a whataboutism to try and substitute the notion of black on black crime, which is a complete misnomer as to why we should not focus, or at least note, I want to say focus, at least note the color issues that are at play with respect to what could or might have happened to.
Man, cook this fool. He's getting cooked, man. He's cooked. Tatum is being disingenuous too, because he's ignoring the aspect of the investigation, right? See, the federal prosecutor, he didn't feed into Tatum's trap of trying to discuss who killed Nolan. He didn't feed into that, right? Which is probably smart, because I would have taken the bait, all right? I would have brought up the call. I would have taken the bait. I would have taken that bait, bro. I would have went into that conversation about who killed Nolan. But he's a federal prosecutor. So he didn't take the bait. He didn't get into, these kids did it. What he did say was the race issue and a race component comes in during the investigation. And that's something I don't think you can argue with here. All right? You can't really argue with it here, bro. All right? The only bad faith response here would be prove it, which I would imagine that's what Tatum is about to get to. Prove it. Because, you can't really dispute it. And history will tell you, when a black child dies, they treat it a little differently. There's not an urgency we're seeing here, bro. Nolan Wells dying, again, gets treated a little differently than if Nolan Wells' friends would have died. Because these folks came out and within the first day says, we did not see any signs of foul play. This was not a foul play. He drowned accidentally. They was ready to pack up this investigation and send it off with the other inexplicable black deaths. And he's saying if Nolan Wells was white, there will be a certain level of urgency from the investigators that we aren't seeing here. If Nolan Wells' name was Warren and his mama was actually called a judge within Ocean Springs, we'll be seeing a different level of urgency. Okay? So you can't really dispute that, right? What you can't say and be bad faith is prove it. Cool, you can cool. Do that, right? Play that bad faith game. But the problem about the bad faith game is, people see right through it. People see right through this act. This is a fact.
Accusatory. And it's just as disingenuous for you to go further and say, we must assume, or it seems like Crump and Sharpton and everyone else was projecting the notion of race. That may have been your interpretation, which I cannot necessarily argue with, but it is just as problematic for you to suggest the polar opposite of that when none of us
killed as a fact
have conducted this full investigation. You have a limited sample size. I have a limited sample size. The public has been wrought with misinformation. So for me, the real issue here is a lack of transparency from the sheriff's office to give the public a complete picture.
Let me tell you where I disagree with you fully. As a former police officer, and I was a PIO, I dealt with all of these things. The police department is not an injustice. When you say there's a lack of communication or transparency, the police department cannot put this information out there when you still have suspects at large. If they go and release some of this information and show their hands of what they know and don't.
Suspects at large is crazy when y'all came out and says there was no foul play. So what, right? No, we are expecting for y'all to say, okay, here's why there's no foul play. Look at this, all right? So what do you mean suspects at large? Y'all came out and said there's no foul play here. So now the excuse of not being transparent is there's suspects. Who are the suspects then? What do you mean by suspects at large? Who are the suspects? Oh, so y'all, okay, so y'all know better too. So y'all know there are suspects. Y'all know there are people who are involved in Nolan's death. Y'all know Nolan's death was not accidental. Y'all know this, right? Oh, gotcha. So y'all know, while at the same time accusing the family of being crazy. So y'all know, okay, great. Thank you for admitting there are suspects at large, huh? So when it's time, see, bro, y'all cannot have your cake and eat it too. When it's time to avoid accountability and transparency, there are suspects at large here, while simultaneously telling us there was no foul play. Man, y'all are disgusting.
Don't know, then potential suspects will begin to destroy evidence. They'll start hiding. They'll start cleaning stuff. You don't want to give that information out to the public until you know for a fact that you've been able to communicate with every suspect. Ain't that something that's a fact, Tanya? If you start putting out the autopsy prematurely and it shows blunt force to the head, strangulation to the neck, then the people who have done this are going to make sure they hide the murder weapon. They're going to make sure they get their stories together and say, no, I didn't hit him in the back of the head. You don't want to project those things too prematurely. So there's no issue with transparency. And I'll say this, the reason that I'm talking about Al Sharpton is because the first thing that they said was that he was there with white boys, therefore there had to been something. And then it goes back historically. Some of them compared this to the young man.
I've heard very different messages from them when they have said, we cannot assume that this is racist.
Now, come on, Tatum. You go down. Come on. Nah, yo, listen, man. We are having raccoon meat for dinner, man. We is having roasted raccoon meat for dinner, people. People, can anybody prepare the raccoon meat? Huh? Hey, man, shout out to Tank Talks TV, man, for rating the live stream. Man, shout out to Tank Talks, man. I appreciate you, bro. So first, we having fried raccoon meat for dinner. Come on, Tatum. Come on, Tatum. Oh, come on, man. Hold on. This brother cooking you, Tatum. Tatum, you drowning right now, Tatum. You picked the right one. See, this is the audacity of these people, bruh. Yo, these far-right extremists who do, again, the most lowbrow content possible. Their content essentially saying black folks is bad, black folks is responsible for all their downfall, and they make nothing but content about disparaging black folks. This is their content. This is what they do. But now when you get in front of somebody who's middle of the road, who's not an extremist, you can't play. You now got to actually use your intellect. And when you don't have one, you get fried like this, man. Oh, the fried raccoon meat right now is on the grill, people. We fried and we grilling it. Oh, my God. So Tatum has a problem with people saying the facts of the case, right? The facts of the case, I'm confused. Right, yo, again, ain't the facts of the case there was white kids who was on the boat? Ain't that the fact? Wait, I'm so confused here, bruh. Don't y'all tell us facts don't care about our feelings? Don't y'all tell us, hey, listen, man, don't ask for context for black stats. Don't ask for context on the statistics y'all use to vilify black people because the stats are the stats. So the facts are the facts, right? Nolan Wells was on a boat with the majority of white friends. Yeah. Nolan Wells was probably one of two, maybe one of three black kids on an island of 2,000 people. Aren't that's the facts? So now when we state the facts, y'all got an issue with it. The facts with no accusations. Nolan Wells went to the island with the majority of a white friend group, and he was found dead after the white friends came back untouched. Why do you have a problem with the facts being stated, Tatum? Man, cook this guy,
white
man.
boys. Therefore, there had to been something. And then it goes back historically. Some of them compared this to the young man.
I've heard very different messages from them when they have said, we cannot assume that this is racist. We cannot assume that it wasn't. So I'm
okay, let me jump in here.
Who that, Charles? Hold on. Charles, who said that? Who said that?
Al Sharpton.
Literally during his eulogy, Al Sharpton said that this was racist, and he said we can also not assume that it wasn't.
Take your time. Hold on, guys, take your time. Ain't nothing.
Yo, you know somebody being fraud with the nah, man, take that, man. Bro, take that belt. What you mean? No. Let me go now. Nah, let this brother cook, man. So Charles, Charles is frying the raccoon meat. Oh my God.
I'm getting edited out. Don't worry about it.
Oh my God.
Trust me. All of it is, I'm not editing a damn thing. Go ahead, Officer Tatum, floor is yours.
Let me interject. When you are looking for justice for your child in a criminal case, meaning that somebody committed a crime against your child, why do you go out and get a civil rights attorney? Benjamin Crump and them are known for going after these cases specifically in injustices against black.
That's such a dumb take.
Let me
try first.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that's fair. No, that's fair, Charles. Go ahead.
I'm a former prosecutor.
Okay.
I'm a civil rights attorney.
Speak on it.
Please understand how these things work.
Speak on it.
At the end of the day, when you're talking about quote unquote justice, the first reason why you get someone like Benjamin Crump is because he's a person who has experience with wrongful death lawsuits.
Black people.
It's not about black people. No,
it is. Benjamin don't represent white people.
Please talk about, but that is completely false. That is completely false.
When was the last case he represented?
Bro, there was a literal white kid that was shot by a police officer, right? That Benjamin Crump, he organized a march for that kid. Bro, Tatum, you're just a liar. But here's the thing, bro. I'm so mad they didn't hone in on Tatum lying. Tatum lied on Al Sharpton. He lied on Al Sharpton. He said that Al Sharpton made it about race when Al Sharpton said we cannot assume is racist. He lied on Crump. See, Tatum is resorting to lies, and he's drowning when you're in front of somebody who knows what they're talking about, right? All the white supremacist talking points, all the placating to the dominant society, that's not working here. It's just not. It's just not. And Yo Gunny says he finna prove Tatum point. No, fam, first off is this. You hire a civil rights attorneys to make sure your rights are not being violated, to make sure that Nolan Wells gets his opportunity for justice. As simple as that, bruh, right? You hire a spokesperson who has experience in speaking to the masses to make sure the pressure is put on the DA to get the answers that we want. Also, Benjamin Crump comes with a full team. On that team are other attorneys who are civil rights attorneys. These are experienced prosecutors. These are experienced defense attorneys. These are people, for the most part, who knows how to get the work done. when you watch the press conference Benjamin Crump has, you have prosecutors, ex-prosecutors, ex-defense attorneys. You had that Asian lady who's not a civil rights attorney. She's a defense attorney. You got the Mexican dude who's an ex-prosecutor. So it comes with a full team who knows what they're doing. That's why Benjamin Crump is involved here.
I'm not,
Where he
here to
supported
do
white people.
I'm not here to do your research for you.
No, you're the one
Benjamin
saying
Crump-
it. I'm telling you it didn't happen.
But Benjamin Crump has a long-standing career of supporting people of all races and ethnicities when it comes to the violation of their civil rights.
Give me one.
As well as personal injury. So please let me answer your question.
Go ahead.
The reason why you get a civil rights attorney is because, number one, Benjamin Crump has extensive experience when it comes to wrongful death suits. Number two, in this situation, it is possible that there may be an element that Nolan Wells' civil rights were violated and that something may have happened to him because of his color, which is why you get a civil rights attorney, which is why you get a civil rights attorney. And so that is the answer to your question.
It's about
As
color.
a former prosecutor, you let the police and the sheriff's office deal with the notion of criminality because that is
Tatum has an intellectual disability.
one thing that Benjamin Crump can't do anything about.
Let's say this, brother. Can I
That's
jump in
why
here?
you go get someone like Benjamin Crump.
Why wouldn't the kids get civil rights? Like, for instance, people were saying, why did these kids lawyer up? First of all, many of them didn't even have a lawyer. They went and talked to investigators and did a lie detector test equivalent with no lawyers. Okay, so, but anyway, would you think it would be weird if these kids went out and got a civil rights attorney?
Wait, pause. Why would... Yo, do Tatum have an intellectual disability, bro? Yo, I'll be real, yo. I'm starting to feel bad, man. I'm starting to feel. Listen, bro. I'm starting to feel bad for Tatum, bro. Yo, this level of belt to behind seems cruel. Why would children who are not victims of crimes, why would they get a civil rights attorney? Why would the white kids get? Bro, listen, man. Listen here, bro. Yo, Tatum, bro. Tatum, bro, yo, give it up, homie. Give it up, yo. I'll be real, yo. Tatum handlers, they gotta reduce his monthly allowance after this, man. Yo, because they bring people like Tatum in, right, to be intellectually dishonest, to bad faith their way to winning these debates. But Tatum, you getting fried, bro. This is
Civil
terrible.
rights attorney?
You getting fried, Tatum.
Why would they have a civil rights attorney? They're not being accused of anything.
They are being accused. They are being accused.
Who's accused them?
They are accused.
Who has accused them?
Sharpton. Benjamin Crump.
Show me where Al Sharpton has accused them of something.
All right,
As opposed to saying,
they said, this is what they said.
Suspicious.
Nah, Tatum, show the facts, bro. Again, you see what I mean by you? Yo, he just lies. He just makes it up. Yo, Tatum is what? He's about 45 seconds from agreeing with this dude that Al Sharpton said, yo, this is not about racism. We cannot say it's about racism with no proof. He's 45 seconds out from agreeing to that, and now he's bringing it back to lie on Al Sharpton again. Man, Tatum, you should be embarrassed.
Accuse them of something.
All right,
As opposed to saying,
this is what they said.
Suspicious.
This is what they said. No, they said they put these boys' pictures out on the internet and said he went out, and they framed it as he went out just with them, and something happened, and we know something happened, and they
Tatum, you sound manic right now, bro. Tatum, you sound manic, bro. They put out, no, bro, the mama posted pictures when Nolan disappeared. The mama posted pictures of Nolan on the island with people and said, yo, these were the people my son was with. Can you have them reach out to me? The mama posted pictures of Nolan on the island and said, yo, this is what Nolan was wearing. If anybody have seen him, please reach out to me. What are they never said, here's the picture of who Nolan was with. These are the people who killed Nolan. You are drowning right now. You sound manic, bro. The mama posted pictures to find her son, who at the time was missing. Oh my God.
hiding phones and doing all this.
Oh my God. Again, the mama never said that. The family never said that. Now, the YouTubers like myself, the content creators, we've probably said something very similar. But you can't put our actions on the mama. What are you talking about, bro? The family, right? Again, the family do not answers for the content creators in our content at all. The family have never accused those kids. Never. Ever.
And we know something happened, and why they hiding phones and doing all this? He's accusing them before
That's not
any
an
evidence is
accusation.
presented.
That's not an accusation. That is,
It is an accusation.
But Charles,
It's not.
statement of
You liar.
suspicion. That is not an accusation.
Charles, hold on. Charles, let me chime in here. A statement of suspicion,
You a
some
liar,
people
Tatum.
would say, is an accusation. I understand from the legal, literal sense what you're saying. But talking amongst ourselves right now, when you say a statement of suspicion is not an accusation, that's not how people interpret a statement of suspicion. When you make a statement of suspicion, you're making an accusation. I mean, can we at least concede that, Charles?
What I will say in response to that, Stephen A., is to whatever extent there may have been statements of suspicion that were interpreted in that manner given early on, I think
Don't concede
the
this.
record has been clear leading up to and during Nolan Wells' funeral that A, we don't know what happened, B, we won't rule anything out, and C, with respect to ruling anything out or not ruling anything out, we are not saying that this absolutely happened, but we are not saying that we are resting until we get answers.
Can I show you where this is Tatum's bias? Go ahead.
Officer Tatum, let me come at you with this. What's wrong? There's a kid now. Okay, granted, you did your homework. You went out there and you actually talked to several of his friends. Props to you for that. But the bottom line is, this kid, Nolan Wells, is dead. And he was the only one that was dead. What's wrong with, again, in the state of Mississippi, not just with white boys, there were some dudes there as well, but he had other people there. He was the one that did not come home alive. Again, without an official accusation. What's wrong with having your suspicions raised and saying, listen, we need some damn answers. Something ain't right. He was a healthy young 18-year-old and he didn't come home alive. How'd that happen? What's wrong with
Now, if they had context and all the information, and then they led with that, I would have no problem with it. But let me tell you this right now, Stephen.
Remember before this video started when y'all told me, oh no, Flacco, Tatum said that they might have been something. No. Tatum have seen all the evidence and he's still refusing to commit to something bad might have happened and an investigation is needed. It's simple as that. But instead, Tatum is resorting to spending the last week and a half vilifying the family in Al Sharpton, and we've seen during this interview, Tatum is willing to just outright lie. Now, here's the thing. If Tatum was not sitting in front of somebody who knew the facts, he would have been able to parade this lie unchecked, right? Tatum is so bad faith, he will get checked and get debunked and get exposed during a debate like this and be given the facts, and Tatum will go back on his channel. I guarantee you, he'll go back on his channel and continue to lie on Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, even after hearing Al Sharpton say, it's not about racism, we cannot confirm that. I'm telling you guys right now, bro, Tatum's a fraud.
Right now, if a white boy was on an island with his black friends, all black, and some white folks put on a camera that something must be suspicious because the one white boy is with all these black dudes, and something may have happened. We know that people covering it up and everything because these kids black. Man, we'd be pissed off on that. Ain't no way in the world I'd accept somebody saying, you gonna blame these black boys for doing something to this kid just because they black? That's insane.
Tatum have lost his mind. These people, again, they are not rooted in principle and integrity. They don't have any foundation for their moral principles and code. They just don't, right? Their moral compass doesn't have any type of, they are not morally intact. That statement from Tatum is laughable, is blasphemous, because Tatum is the same dude who support a guy who falsely accused 5 innocent black kids of raping and murdering some. Tatum still supports that guy. That's his president, right? Charlie Kirk believed that the exonerated 5 was guilty. Charlie Kirk, to his death, called them guilty. Tatum and his homies, his right-wing homies, they believe the exonerated 5 is still guilty. And they continue to call them guilty to this day, even though the exonerated 5 was proven to be not guilty, right? They didn't do a thing. So hold on, bro. So hold on, bro. All right. So 5 innocent black men was accused of a grape in Central Park, and they was proven to be innocent. The white folks continue to call them guilty. Yo, homies, and we ain't never seen you tell them, say, yo, you know what, yo, hey, bro, the Central Park Fives was exonerated. They ain't do it. They not guilty. Y'all stop this. Y'all stop this now. No. You ain't never done that. But now you want to use the example of, man, what would y'all say if these black kids, if these 4 black kids was been accused of? We've already seen it, Tatum, and you ain't say a thing. As a matter of fact, you support the false accusations of the Central Park 5. You support it. So don't get to the high and mighty stuff now, bro. Man, bro, cut it out, bro.
This kid, just because they black, that's insane. And that's what happened in this situation.
If a white boy had been on that boat with 3 black boys, we would have seen a very different.
Where's your evidence?
Yo, what I tell y'all? Yo, remember I told y'all about 20 minutes ago? Tatum is going to resort to the most bad faith response, which is, what's your evidence? What's the proof? Man, listen, bro. My experience is the proof. History is the proof. History. A bunch of grown men came and got Emmett Till in the middle of the night, murdered him and got off. That's my proof right there.
Give me a case.
History.
No, history. You can say history.
Emmett Till, that's my proof.
We would have seen a very different.
Give me an example.
Of the Central Park, the exonerated 5.
First of all, 5 of them didn't go to prison. It was Central Park 5. Only 4 of them went to prison.
It was actually 6 of them, and 5 went. And I'm not.
And let me tell you how they went to prison.
I'm not going to quit
you won't give context.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Okay. Now, wait, hold on. Now let's give context. Whoa, hold on, Tatum. So we're being presented, all right, with you. He gave you an example, all right? 6 black kids was accused of doing something they didn't do, and they went to prison for it. They were exonerated, Tatum. Instead of you saying, yo, bro, the system failed, you're now about to provide the false context of literal children being manipulated by seasoned detectives at 13 or 14 years old. You're about to say these kids that was coerced into a confession by seasoned detectives without their parents being there, without legal representation being there. You're now about to use racist detectives owning in on innocent kids and coercing them into a confession as the context as to how this situation right here is different. Put Warren as a 13-year-old in an interrogation room without his mama with seasoned detectives. I can guarantee you a confession will be had within 30 minutes. As simple as that.
You asked for an example. I'm not going to quibble with you and say they're called the exonerated 5 and only 4 which I'm not going to do that. The exonerated 5. You wanted an example, I gave you an example.
That's not an equivalent example.
And there are other examples throughout history, starting with Emmett Till and going throughout the. And
are you comparing this to Emmett Till?
You asked me.
No, are you saying that this is equivalent?
You asked me for an example.
So you're saying that it's equivalent.
Where if reversed.
Okay. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm telling you, I'm giving you examples. What I'm telling you is that if the situation were reversed, we would have seen a very different investigation from law enforcement from the actual outset. We as a people, when it comes as a former prosecutor, because here's the thing, you're a former police officer, and that's fine. But when it comes to after arrests are made and how prosecutions are going, that's my space. That's my lane. So I'm going to speak from my lane. And what I can tell you is we do not typically enjoy the benefit of the doubt when it comes to probable cause.
That's not true.
I'm telling you as a former prosecutor, I'm not going to tell you what it's like.
I arrest people and I deal with prosecutors.
Yo, can you imagine? Yo, I'll be real, bro. Yo, can you imagine being an innocent black man having the displeasure of an encounter with Officer Tatum when he was a police officer. Yo, can you imagine being an innocent brother being pulled over by Officer Tatum? Dog, I'll be real, bro. That's a scary sight, homie. That's a scary sight, bro. Being an innocent black man having an encounter with Officer Tatum when he was on patrol. Nah, son, dog. Yo, if this is your opinion of black folks, can you imagine Tatum? My God,
I'm
man.
telling you, as a former prosecutor, I'm not going to tell you what it's like.
I arrest people and I deal with prosecutors.
I'm not going
I have to do it. I have to interview with the prosecutors every time there's an arrest. And we have to go to trial.
Well, he's not saying that you. He's not saying that you don't know. Hold on. He's not saying that you don't know Officer Tatum. What he's saying is, from his perspective as a prosecutor, this is what he's bringing up. Now, I granted, I don't blame Officer Tatum. I don't blame Officer Tatum for bringing up when acting incredulous when he says you would say Emmett Till. That's 1955. When Al Sharpton brought up Medgar Evers at the funeral. That's 1963. So if Officer Tatum's going to look at it and say that's what you're bringing up, I get where he's coming from in terms of the distance between then and now. But I also get where you're coming from, Charles Coleman Jr., when you highlight, listen, from an historical perspective, we're talking about, we've seen things like this before, and those are just names that we know. There's a plethora of names that we may not have known that have transpired throughout history that have suffered some of these maladies, and we get that part too. Go ahead, Officer.
Stephen A is playing a fence sitter. He knows he's gonna get backlash if he goes for what he wants and goes all out for Officer Tatum. Since he knows he's gonna get backlash, and he gotten backlash before, he got backlash in the past multiple times for being a racist motherfucker. He's fence sitting, bruh. He's fence sitting like shit.
Officer Tatum, floor is yours.
But what I'm saying is that you cannot project that. It's unfair to project that. You can have it in your subconscious that there has been things that have been done wrong, but you got to treat these things fairly. You cannot go out and project that somehow the sheriff is a racist and he's not going to do right by these boys. That's not right. Let the investigation ensue, and then if you see impropriety in the investigation, then you can project that. But listen, they interviewed you just said they interviewed 60 people. They interviewed all these boys the day of. What if they do wrong? They did an autopsy.
Officer Tatum, respectfully, what about those who would say the same or would ask the same question about you? Are you being fair? Because just like you have people out there that are elevating their level of suspicion and jumping to some sort of conclusion attached to guilt as it pertains to the death of Nolan Wells.
I have to be on Stephen A. Smith's side on this. Even though he's a motherfucking racist, bruh. He's a racist to his own fucking kind. He's a motherfucking raccoon. And I know we can't be racist because the only people who can be racist are the people on top and the people who put certain communities in enslavement and who know they can corrupt anything at any time. So, yeah, although he's not white, he is for the white community, bruh. But I am on Stephen A. Smith's side on this because he is kind of going after Officer Tatum, although he is being soft about it.
You're coming across as somebody who's assuming these individuals that were in attendance with him were innocent because of your conversations with them, as opposed to not getting the full context the way Charles Coleman Jr. just highlighted.
No, yeah, I accept people saying that, but let me tell you that I saw proof. I'm not just taking somebody's account.
Yo, Tatum's. Watch this, yo. I'm about to show y'all how dangerous Tatum is, okay? Yo, have y'all seen Tatum's coverage on Cyan Massey? Yo, listen, yo, Tatum, wait 1 second. Bro, Tatum tap danced Cyan Massey so crazy that he had to apologize. Yo, do you understand how bad you gotta be when the racist white folks who follow you, when they say, hey, bro, Tatum, you went, yo, watch this, yo. Yo, Tatum watched a black woman get shot and killed in her own kitchen because she had water in her hands. And Tatum says the shooting was justified. Watch this real quick. Watch this. Yo, listen, I'm about to show y'all how dangerous Officer Tatum is real quick. And then we'll be back, fam, okay? And we'll go back to that, okay? So look, and we'll go back to the interview real quick. Okay. So look at the thumbnail. Look at the thumbnail of Saya Massey being shot and killed in her kitchen was justified. That was the thumbnail. Justified, people. So now look, now watch this. Now here is Tatum.
And I heard about this. The person who killed Saya Massey is trying to get, because he said he got cancer, he's trying to get out of prison. Look at this. I just saw this. I'm probably spelling her name incorrectly. Yeah. What is his name? Sean Grayson. Yep. Yeah, he tried to get medical release from prison, but they denied it. So fucking happy about that shit. Even though all of our community who are actually sick and want to get medical release from prison get denied. Here we go. And his family is trying to get medical release for his motherfucking ass, bruh. It's just crazy. It's really crazy. It's closed session before announcing its will continue to provide updates as yup. Good. Yeah, Sonia Massey. That's her name. And they think them being white would cancel that shit. I'm so happy that he didn't get that shit. So fucking happy.
So Tatum is a justified, people. So now look, now watch this. Now here is Tatum. So Tatum is about to justify, probably, listen, the most clear cut. Even the white nationalists and the black nationalists, we all came together to say, hey, this is wrong. This is foul. Watch Tatum justify officers shooting and killing a black woman in her kitchen because they told her to take the water off the stove. She had water in her hands and she was shot and killed. The officer got found guilty in a court of law and got 20 years. Watch Tatum make every excuse for these officers. Watch this.
I have to say, I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified.
So Tatum says Saya Massey's shooting was justified, and this is the man who believes he's the arbitrator of truth and fairness. Dog, Tatum, Tatum, do you understand, bro, how we look? Bro, we look at you as a voice for white supremacy. We look at you as an absolute agent of chaos. Watch this.
I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified. You can't throw boiling water on a police officer and not get shot.
She didn't throw boiling water on. They told her to take it from off the stove. Watch this.
This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Get you one of these shirts. Link is in the description section. Discount code will pop up right here. Like this video. Hit the like button. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, the deputies in Illinois in hot water. No pun intended. It's too soon. Maybe it's too soon. I'm really not trying to make fun of this woman. It's a tragedy when anybody loses their life. I don't care if they're a criminal or not. Except for if you abuse kids, then I know you're on your own, Jack. For the most part, I don't care what situation a person is in. It's incredibly sad if a person loses their life. Never do I want to see a law enforcement get to the life of another person, justified or not justified. It doesn't matter. I do not want to see it happen. I wish that we could avoid these things. Now, with that being said, let's talk about this specific situation. Allegedly, and through the documents, and when I say allegedly, because I don't believe none of the news says, and I don't believe the outcome of some of these cases anyway. However, I'll just use the word allegedly. So they responded to a prowler call, which means a person who's lingering or loitering around the property, potentially going in the backyard, searching through stuff. Could be an individual that could be looking to burglarize a facility. They show up to this woman's house, looking around the yard first, and then they make contact with her. She
No, first of all, she called them. Right? I think that she called them. Yeah, she called them because she had some type of suspicion. So the context of them looking around, looking for problems, no, she called them. They realized who they were speaking to. The homeowner. The homeowner is who called you. You guys get in the house and murder her. Tatum then makes an excuse for the officers every way. So if Tatum can watch a murder take place on camera and make an excuse for the murder that took place on camera in front of us, where even the racist, the white supremacist, were saying, bro, this is bad. What do you think Tatum is gonna do for a situation like Nolan was, where we gotta grind our teeth to get information? He has the benefit of reasonable doubt. So he's going to support white supremacy any chance he gets. But watch this real quick. Watch Tatum makes an excuse for this.
He is mentally ill, according to the documents, suffer from schizophrenia and probably other mental health issues. Initially, when you watch this video, you're going to see that they were having a cordial conversation, and then it goes south. Benjamin Crump is on the case, so you know it's all BS, in my personal opinion. We would never hear about this case if the woman was white and these officers were white, or if the officers were black and this woman was white. You'd never hear about it whatsoever. The only reason we're hearing about this is because Benjamin is trying to get some money and trying to get a payout. They ended up indicting the police officer that fired the shot, charged him with 3 counts of murder, as if he intentionally killed this woman. I'm gonna go through the process and tell you specifically why I think that there's room for improvement in tactics. I think that things could have been done differently. Maybe those things would have saved her life, but that has nothing to do with whether, in my opinion, whether an officer is justified or not in this particular instance, in the predicament that they were already in. There's a lot for me to talk about, so I'm gonna just get the video started and I'm gonna go methodically through the video and bring it up. I'm open to somebody disagreeing with me if it's justified or not. I don't think every police involved situation is justified. In this specific situation,
bro, get to the nonsense, Tatum. You talk too much, bro. You clown.
You're ready. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID
You can
is.
stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
Check on her.
Yeah, let me get this.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
All right. Right.
Okay, so they said we don't need a fire in here. Maybe she should check on the food, right?
They told her to, again, she's sitting on the couch, people. She's sitting on the couch. They told her to go and turn off the stove. First off, even IDing this woman, but why are you IDing her? You came to her house to help her out. If nothing bad is happening, leave. But she's on the couch being cooperative, being nice. You tell her, yo, turn off the stove. So again, she goes to turn off the stove. Watch this.
So she's probably discombobulated, rambling, and doing all these other things. She seems to be someone who's struggling mentally, right? There's training that officers are supposed to undertake to help them mitigate conflict with people who are struggling with mental illness. Because you're mentally ill don't mean you deserve to get killed over something, right? So officers should be trained and adequate enough to deal with a person and keep things calm so they don't have to get into a deadly force situation. They asked her to go and turn that fire off because they didn't want it to catch on fire while they were over there talking to her. And this is what happens next.
Wait for your hot steaming water.
Well, wait for later part.
Okay, so now she has the boiling hot water in her hand. It seemed like she poured it out, but I guess she didn't pour it all out. And then she started making statements to them. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Again, she poured out some of the water because it was overflowing. So she poured it out. If her intentions was to throw the boiling water on the officers, why would she pour it out? Also, look at where they're at. Look at where she's at. You think this woman is able to throw boiling water, 30 feet? You think she's able to throw boiling water and fatally harm them from where she's at right now? Clearly not, right? And when she says, yo, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, clearly she was onto something. Clearly she knew something that we didn't know because these devils was in her house about to murder her.
Now, as a police officer, you're talking to somebody who's mentally unstable. Now she has a pot of boiling water.
Come on.
in her
Yo,
hand.
hood educated, yes.
And now she's starting to turn.
It's hit on that gun already.
Your antennas will go up. We'll get to some other options here. Your antennas will go up.
Cool, 10 feet.
If somebody's now talking,
You think she's throwing this water 10
in the
feet?
name of Jesus, you become the enemy. They got a pot of boiling water in their hand, and now they're rebuking you in the name of Jesus. The question that law enforcement officers should be asking themselves and engaging is that, what is she thinking, and is she going to turn on us? Is this going to turn into an altercation? This woman has boiling water in her hand, and she's rebuking us now.
No, that's where I got she drank.
Now, this officer here.
Bruh, listen, man. Dumb devils heard, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, while dealing with somebody who they deem is mentally ill. And the first thing these devils go to, again, not to get out the house, the first thing these devils go to is, I'll shoot you in your face. Huh? Because she told you she'll rebuke you in the name of Jesus?
Okay. Do I agree with the way he articulated what he said?
Oh, come on, Tatum.
I don't like when officers talk
Come on, Tatum.
because this is what happens when you end up shooting somebody. You already look like a deranged fool
I rebuke you
and look like a
means you get
murderous
shot
thug
and killed.
because you don't have enough respect and decorum and professionalism not to talk like that to people.
This is who we're
You
dealing
may
with,
think
people.
to your mind, I'm gonna shoot you. You better drop it. Have a little bit of respect and know that you got to cover yourself and be professional. So if the thing goes south, you're not on camera saying, I'm gonna shoot you in the head. That seems like an exaggerated, like an acceleration of force. He didn't de-escalate anything. He's escalating. Now, this woman shouldn't have this boiling pot in her hand in the first place. She should put it down. Now, this is an unsafe situation. Where do they go from here? So she squats down. He's on gun. I do not have a problem with him being on gun because he's the officer that's closest to her. And this officer is now over here. He don't know if he's on taser or not. In this situation, this is a small house and stuff can start getting active real quick. You're not going to be able to turn your back on her and run out of the door. At this point, you kind of stuck in a position where you need to be keeping your eyes on her because you don't know what she's going to do. Now, I'll point this out. This is why I think that this is more justified than not. We don't know what's in that pot. Do you? Do we?
What? Water? What? So, again, we'll get back to the Nolan Wells thing real quick, okay? I just wanted to show you guys an example of how bad faith this person is. Tatum is justifying officers shooting a woman in her face, killing her, and then calling her a B as she's laying down on the floor lifeless because she had water in her hands.
Maybe now we do. But at the time, this woman is crazy and she's now manipulating this pot. How do we know she don't have acid in this pot or something even more dangerous?
So a woman, so Tatum is saying a woman, had a pot of acid that was uncovered. The lid was open on a pot of acid as it was on the stove burning. So she was.
In order to have acid, right? Don't you have to have a certain certification for that? Hold up. I'm gonna have to. Okay, let's see. Whether you need certification to obtain acid depends entirely on the type of acid and context, ranging from business verification for strong industrial chemicals to processing splicing for commercial food production or an Egyptian custom filing number. No federal license is strictly mandated for ordinary customers' purchases of common regulated precursor chemicals like hydrochloric or sulfuric acid. Though acquiring strong acid like sulfuric and nitric acid can be difficult for individuals due to chemical supply companies' policies to restrict themselves to bona fide research or teaching institutions, often requiring business accounts or verification of legitimate end use as users on, yeah. So processing license. So you need a processing license in order to get food processing in commercial use. Supervisor training certs. Shipping, yeah, just like FedEx and whatnot. How easy to get is it easy to get uh, harmful, harmful acid. Sulfuric acid is a very cheap and easy to get liquid, being commonly used for restoring uh, exhausted car batteries and in the leather industry. Concentrated, yeah, easily available from various retail outlets. Thing about it, this is this woman that they're talking about, this Sonia Massey, she doesn't look like the type to go to a Home Depot or a mechanic shop in order to get this type of acid. Look at her. The only type of acid she will actually get is cleaning preferred acid. Do do this woman actually look like she would go to a Home Depot or a mechanic shop in order to get acid for cleaning a fucking car battery? No, she don't. Where's okay? Let's see if I can get more. Here we go. Sonia Massey. Does she look like the type to get a a fucking type of acid that would be harmful to get? I mean, harmful to use on this guy and be boiling it on the fucking pot on the fucking stove. She is a mother of what? Let's see. She is a mother who went to college. Who went to college for what? I don't know. I don't know where she went to college. Okay, here we go. 36. So she was born. She died at what? And he only got 20 years of prison, bruh. What the fuck? Anna Massey checked into a 30-day inpatient treatment program, returning 2 days later. A caller from Massey. Uh, do we have anything from? So one of her, damn, Springfield race riot. He was one of her ancestors was lynched in the Springfield race riot. Led to the founding of National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. So she was one of her ancestors was a part of the reason why the NAACP was brought up basically. Let's see. Let's see some history. I think she was a mother of two, maybe, or a mother of one, and it looks like a son. But yet, this guy had the nerve to shoot and kill her just because he felt as though she had acid on the stove just boiling. All because she said, in the name of Jesus. She was able to get shot and killed, and him having only 20 years in prison. If it was us killing a fucking white person, a white woman, we will get fucking what? We will get what? Life. No bonds at all. But yet this guy gets 20 fucking years. And the Anthony whatever his name's case, he got 36 years in prison for killing a white kid who went to the same school as him when they was bullying him, bruh. And he got 36 years. And he was a young man. He was going to college. This guy is 30 fucking years old. Or he had a life. Has a life. He was a sheriff. Bruh. He was a sheriff and he gets 20 years compared to the case with the college kid. Do that make sense? Do that make sense at all? It doesn't.
Cooking acid in her home in a confined space. Now do you understand why we don't listen to Officer Tatum speak on Nolan Wells? Now do you understand why we don't listen to Officer Tatum speak on Nolan Wells?
Okay. Now, officers' tactics is terrible right here. I'm not trying to judge them too harshly because when the stuff is hitting the fan.
Of course, because he's.
I'm not trying to judge somebody too harshly who
He
just
a
shot
white
and killed a woman.
dick sucker.
Man, Tatum,
Back to
come
this
on.
real quick. And where one guy is in front of another. If I was with a standing right here and this is body worn camera, he's the one in the bigger threat. So he should have gun. The guy he has a vest on. I get how it's getting active right now, so I'm not really
Man,
trying
get
to go
to the.
You're done. You go get it for that headshot.
Now, they just shot a woman. Yo, bro. Yo, here's how inhumane these devils are. They just shot a woman who had water in her hands. She fell. She's lifeless with nothing in her hands.
Yup.
And instead of rendering aid and trying to save her life, they are standing over her with guns to her, so if she moves, they can shoot her again. This is what he's justifying.
Now, people may interpret this officer as brash and no, he's scared.
Oh, that's what we missed.
He's scared.
We missed him calling her a B.
When he
gonna
was
see
a
here in a minute.
when he has the
I'm gonna go
fucking
get my
gun.
kid. That's a
Damn
done.
Effing,
You can go get it for that headshot.
it's a headshot. She's gone. So now look. Now look at the comment sections. Look at the comment section. Okay? Look. Okay. Look at the comment sections. Nah, bro. Retired SWAT officer here. I've dealt with 5150 with knives, machetes, and even a hostage. All of them were alive when we were done. Tatum needs to go sit down on this one. Man, come on, bruh. As a current cop of 11 years, I say hell no to this being justified. Man, come on, bruh. Man, come. Another former officer here. I literally searched his channel and said, let me see how Officer Tatum justifies the officer's actions and vilifies the victim. Bro, he did not disappoint. Officer Tatum is the absolute worst. Come on, bro. Told y'all he was on. Oh, come on, bro. Fam. So do y'all understand this, bro? When y'all hear Tatum react to Nolan, don't take nothing Tatum is saying in good faith. Tatum justified a woman being shot and killed on camera because she had water in her hands. Water in her hands. Who, by the way, they told her to go get. The officer was sentenced to jail. He's in prison right now because of this. So he clearly was not justified. So when Tatum wants to speak on Nolan Wells, remember what he said about Sonya Massey. Straight up.
And I'm not saying that nobody didn't kill Nolan. I'm telling you the people that they put out on the internet and said these white boys were the only ones with him, and they're getting death threats. While I was out there, somebody sent the suspicious package to one of the boys' houses. They showing up at these boys' houses saying that they killed him. Go look on the internet and look at any of these videos. They got the boy pictures up there saying they had something to do with his death. They're claiming they deleting text messages. All of this stuff is incredibly ridiculous. When I went out and I said, show me the proof then. Not just what you say, show me the proof. And these kids are showing proof, the lawyers are showing proof that they had nothing to do with this. They have a Life 360 just like Nolan did. Their Life 360 showed that they were not on the island, or at least the young man that I interviewed, he wasn't even on the island. I saw his Life 360. These kids, they shouldn't have done these boys like this. They should.
So let me ask you a question. So you're highlighting specifically, you're not even saying, like you just said, you're not even saying that Nolan Wells, that some vile act, that he wasn't murdered. You're saying that these boys, those are the ones that are being unfairly scrutinized and villainized by this whole ordeal. That's what you're saying, Officer Tatum. Is that accurate?
Yes, Stephen A. There were black kids there who now getting threats online too for coming out and saying something. But nobody's saying, what did these black kids have anything to do with it? The young girl he was kicking it with, they don't have her name out there. Her name is Katie, but I'm not gonna say her full name. I don't want her to get doxxed. They not nobody talking about her. She said she was the last one. She at least mentioned that she was with him. The boy showed me text messages from her that she's saying that she was with him. Like, why ain't nobody coming at? How nobody coming at her?
I've seen, and see, this is where it gets dangerous, right? The importance in this moment is to focus on the integrity of the overall process. And when I say the overall process, I'm referring to the investigation, because I knew that the girl's name was Katie. I don't know her last name, and I knew it because there were people who I was seeing in the comment section that I had on videos that I had done updating people about the case, who were asking the same questions that you have. People,
but Benjamin Crump isn't.
Please. So here's the thing, which is why when you're trying to, and at the end of the day, listen, you don't know what Benjamin Crump is doing as far as investigating a case. The same way that you talked about as an investigation, there are certain things that you.
He just talks. Listen, man. Tatum knows nothing. He just talks.
Don't reveal. You don't know what that team of lawyers are doing with respect to trying to ascertain the facts. When it comes to, did they answer you or did they not answer you?
They answered us on the last one and refused to respond to us. They refused to engage with us.
They don't owe you that.
It's fine. Well, don't act like you're trying to get to the bottom of something.
So again,
don't act like you're trying to get to the bottom of something.
Don't do the thing to them that you are accusing other people of doing.
He said he's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Don't make assumptions that
I'm not
for
assuming.
them. You are. You're like, they're not doing this, and they're trying to make.
They're not reaching out to the boys.
They have not spoken to you.
They haven't spoken to the boys.
Charles, in fairness, at least.
No, it's no unfairness, yo. The family spoke to the boys on night one. The family spoke to them. They told the family, this is all we know. Here is everything. So if the family already has the boys' statements and they're saying that this is all we know, this is our story, and we're sticking to it, why would Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton need to talk to the boys? Why would they need to the family already know what the boys' stories are. The boys have made it perfectly clear what their stories are. Right? So it makes no sense. Again, them not speaking to the boys does not take away from everything. Benjamin Crump is not investigating this. He's a civil rights attorney. Al Sharpton is not investigating this. He's a civil rights attorney. They're saying, hey, bruh, we're going to speak up and we're going to go out of our way and have our team on this and have them do the investigation. But the family already knows the boys' statements. What, should they talk to the boys 3 or 4 times so they can tell them, hey, we told Nolan, let's get on the boat. Nolan didn't get on the boat. So we left with his phone, his everything. Like, why do Tatum think this is such a gotcha moment? It's not.
He's answered this question. If indeed it's to be found out that there's been no attempt by whether it's Sharpton or Benjamin, anybody else, to reach out to the actual boys who were supposed to be in attendance with Nolan Wells, as Officer Tatum just highlighted, Do you feel that's the right path that they should be taking if they're raising suspicions, calling for a more thorough and open investigation, etc., and they haven't made personal attempts to reach out to these young men themselves? Do you think that would be the right thing to do?
I can't think.
To ask Officer Tatum's question.
Sure, I can't imagine that legal team would look to bring a lawsuit without having attempted to at least try to get some investigative answers from these boys. Now, when in this process they do it is a different question, because at the end of the day, the more information you have, the more informed questions you can ask. And the chances are you're not going to get multiple bites at that apple. So from a strategic place, what I can tell you is that, yes, I would fully expect that at some point they would endeavor to reach out to these boys, but it may not be this point.
Also, isn't it crazy how Tatum makes an excuse for the officers not providing information to Benjamin Crump or the family because they are still investigating and they don't want to leak anything about possible suspects? But Tatum does not give Crump and his investigation team the same just due, saying, hey, listen, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know how they're investigating. You don't know what they're looking into. You just don't. So you give the DA and the sheriffs, you give them the benefit of the doubt for not being transparent, for seemingly fumbling this investigation, but yet Crump and them is on your timeline. Man, shut up, man. That's the facts, man.
They're not going to get boys, but it may not be this point because they may be waiting for additional information so that they can actually ask better questions. They're not going to get multiple chances to do it.
And Tatum, you're getting cooked. Also, too, by the way, right now, bro is playing Tatum's own game with him, right? Bro is now, again, let's be real here, okay? All right. We can all agree that if Crump ain't reach out yet, all right? But don't concede an inch. Bro is being just as bad faith as Tatum is, right? And Tatum can't take it. This will be a Tatum explanation if Tatum was on the opposite side. We don't know when they're going to reach out. They might reach out next week or in a month. They got to do the investigation to find the right answer to ask them. How you don't like bad faith responses, Tatum? Now, again, I'm of the mindset the family already got their statements. The boys have already put out their statements. Ashley called the boy's mama, has put out her statement. So why would you need to talk to the three boys when there's hundreds of people who are like bringing in tips? Crump, the mama, and everybody involved have made it very clear. They have been talking to people since this very investigation started. And there's hundreds of people who have brought in tips they've been following.
So when you do it, you want to make sure that you're doing it the best way you can. And the only way to do that is to have the information that you need in order to ask the best questions.
Charles, they drug these boys through the mother freaking mud. They put their faces online.
They ain't do a thing, bro. Listen, the boys' faces were already online well before them.
Benjamin Crump shared this video or this picture of them in a swimming pool. That happened. That event was a week before July 4th. He didn't do no due diligence to check with anybody.
But Ben Crump says, yo, people online are saying this. Do anybody have any proof of this? Benjamin Crump posted a picture asking people to come forward with any information about the picture. What are you talking? Yo, how do you do research? Yo, how do you investigate and ask for tips? But I can't present what I want to tip on.
Before he started putting this stuff out there, then what he do is he go, I had people saying that the argument was Nolan Wells asking for his phone back. He didn't talk to Tristan, who I interviewed. Tristan said on NBC, that was me, or ABC, that was me. That was not Nolan. But Benjamin Crump still, to this day, haven't came out and said, we found out that it was another young man. He pushed this stuff on.
What are y'all talking about? First off, how will he know it's another man when he's getting varying reports? Varying reports, all right? And there were multiple altercations that took place, right? So, again, if 10 people is telling Ben Crump this, 10 people is telling him this. How did he decide I'm gonna believe these 10 people and not this 10 people, especially if the people telling me this are the people who are trying to exonerate themselves? So if 10 folks tell me, yo, Nolan Walsh was asking for his phone back, then the other 10 is saying, no, he didn't. But the 10 that's telling me, no, he didn't, are the 10 that are possible suspects. Why in the world would I believe the 10 telling me and not the 10 who told me, yo, he did? So no, of course he has not conceded any points because it's still an active investigation and these are people being looked at.
On these boys and they getting death threats. That stuff is not right. Benjamin should be more responsible. But the reason
I'm not here to talk about Nolan Wells' lawyer. I'm here to talk about why Nolan Wells why Nolan Wells is dead.
But let's get to the conversation. Let's get to the phones.
Go ahead.
The phones getting deleted. Because Al Sharpton came out there and said the mama had to go and search the phone down in Life 360. No, she didn't. The boys showed text messages, or the parents showed text messages of them communicating with his mom. She refused. And then they go and say they deleted. The boys say, the boys told me it could be not true or not. I don't know. They got to figure it out. They go, we didn't touch his phone. His phone went from the boat to the car with everybody else's phone. And when they came to get the phone, we got the phone out of the car and gave it to another young man's mom who came to get the other young man's phone. They said, we don't know Nolan's password. How will we get in his phone and delete anything? Now, why is them not coming on TV and saying there was no password or they had to get through his phone?
Let me ask you this question. Based on your investigation, I'm asking you this. I'm thinking that any parent that loses their child wants to get to the bottom of it. They don't care if the villain is white, black, or whatever. Their child is dead. They want the culprit. So when you see Al Sharpton eulogizing and announcing that there's a $100,000 reward, when you see that Tyler Perry agreed to pay for the funeral and put up half of the reward, when you see guys like Spike Lee and Terrell Owens in attendance, and Terrell Owens, I think, dedicated $25,000, if I remember correctly, according to the reports that I've read, and Benjamin Crump in attendance, and you're talking about civil rights lawyers being in attendance, like you just pointed out. My question to you, Officer Tatum, and Charles, you can follow up based on the answer that he provides.
See, you have all these famous actors, producers, and whatnot supporting this family. Spike Lee, Tyler Perry, all these famous people. Fucking, you got Flacco. You got Astro Dior. You got Yondon Reyes, which are content creators on YouTube. But you are the only one. You got Stephen A. Smith. Although he's a bit of fence sitting. Actually supporting this shit. But yet you're the only one. The only one who is against this shit. He's senile. He's not that old, but he's becoming senile. This motherfucking retarded fuck don't know when to fucking sit down and stay fucking quiet, bruh. He need to learn from his white pals to sit down and to shut the fuck up.
My question to you is, why do you think the parents decided to go that route, Officer Tatum, based on your investigation in terms of allowing all of those folks to be so intimately involved in this situation? What are your thoughts about that? What comes to your mind, particularly based on your investigation, talking to the actual parties supposedly involved?
There's two thoughts that come to my mind. One is that Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump are manipulating this family's trauma in order for them to make a crap ton of money. That's one. The second one is the parents trying.
No, Nolan Wells' grandfather was on Facebook the day that Nolan Wells' body was found and saying, this is suspicious, it doesn't make sense. The family already had suspicion before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. Nolan Wall's grandfather, and we covered like the Facebook post we made. Nolan Wall's grandfather said, "Yo, they searched for his body the day before. The day before was the second day because Nolan Walls was dead on the 4th. On the 5th, they searched for the body. On the 6th, they found him. So on the 5th, drones came. They walked the island from sundown to sunset everywhere, searched every part of the island, and they didn't find the body, even though the high waves and the low waves, right? So the high tides and the low tides came and went. They didn't find a body. Then they found a body conveniently in the same spot they already searched. The grandfather said, "This is suspicious. I need answers of what happened to my son." So if the family already has suspicion, why are you now blaming Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton for making the family suspicious? No, that was already there.
On this because, and it's the reason why I say this. Why did Nolan Wells' mama say, "I don't know these kids"? These boys showed me pictures and video and texting them staying over his house, or at least the young boy Tristan staying over his house multiple times. She went to school with one of the other boys' mama, graduated high school with her. They showed me the yearbook. Why is she saying this?
Yeah, but Warren told you he had never met her. I'm so confused. Warren told you he never met her. Tristan told you he don't know the mom like that. What are you talking about? Bro, your own interview with them would debunk this. They told you to your face, we never met her. What are you talking about?
Why Al Sharpton don't know this boy? Why is he eulogizing him at his funeral? Ain't never met Nolan a day in his life. Why are they saying we're gonna give $100,000 to somebody who give us information to lead to an arrest? What if Nolan drowned?
Wait, pause, bro. Hold on, bro. What's wrong?
You know why he's saying this? Because he's so afraid of so much people supporting Nolan Wells' father and mother that he's doing anything he can to make this a smear campaign against these people who supported the family. He trying to downplay every fucking thing.
Wrong with you? Yo, why is Al Sharpton eulogized? Maybe because his parents is having a hard time. Maybe because the parents are not ready yet, bro, to come and fam. Listen, bro. If the parents chose Al Sharpton, I'm not even gonna try to go to. If the parents chose Al Sharpton, if the parents and the family felt like Al Sharpton would do Nolan Wells justice, what's your issue? What's your problem? Why do you care that Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells? Bruh, nobody loved Nolan more than his mama and his father. Nobody loved him more. Nobody on planet Earth. So if these people felt like it was the right decision to have Al Sharpton eulogize Nolan, why do you care? What's your issue? But what's your issue? Even the people who feel like, oh, people is taking us out of proportion. Do you think it's okay for Officer Tatum to question why Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells when the parents picked him? You think that's okay?
Oh, no, I don't.
You think that's cool?
Okay.
You think that right there is in good faith? You think that's okay? You think that's decent? For him to question why Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells when the parents picked Al Sharpton? Y'all think that's okay? Listen, man, it's one thing if you feel like, he drowned, y'all taking this out of proportion is one thing. It's another, bruh, to question how the parents is dealing with the death of their son. That's disrespectful. That's nasty. That's not okay.
Somebody who give us information to lead to an arrest.
Nasty.
What if Nolan drowned? They don't care about him drowning. And then also, why we don't do this for any other young men who have lost their lives at the hands of other people other than white people? Why come together?
Charles, I'm going to give you the floor, Charles.
What? Back to Beckham? Why? Because again, if a man lost his life to another black man, that black man would be in jail, Tatum. I'm sorry to tell you, bro. I'm sorry to tell you. All right. If Nolan Wells was shot and killed by another black kid, that black kid will be in jail.
They would do so much just to get him in prison. They would do so fucking much to get him in prison. But since it's a white motherfucker, they gonna hide the fact that they gonna try to hide anything. They gonna try to cover that shit cover it up no matter what is going on. They trying to cover that shit up, bro. But yeah, since it's not a black man, since it's not a black man, and if a black man done it, you already know. It's bullshit. It's motherfucking bullshit.
Need to pressure white folks to arrest a black kid who committed a crime. I'm sorry, bruh. If Nolan Walsh was shot and killed by a black kid in the cities of Ocean Springs, there will be no civil rights move. There would not be a need to convince or pressure the white DA or the white sheriffs to arrest that black kid. He'll be in jail that night. Things like this is needed, right? We're trying to convince the sheriffs, the DAs to hold white folks accountable for things they do, especially if it's a white powerful family. That's what it is.
Charles, I'm going to give you the floor in a second, but Officer Tatum, it's one thing. I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to clarify, because it's one thing to feel what you feel about Benjamin Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, etc. It's another thing entirely to lump the parents who just lost their child.
But I know it's sensitive.
Talking about they're trying to profit.
I know it's sensitive.
You sure you want to say that? Is what I'm sure you want to say that.
Let me be clear about this. You asked me what my thoughts were. I didn't say that
Yes,
that was
I did.
facts.
I know.
My
I
thoughts
said your
based
thought.
on.
I said
I'm
your
saying
thought.
based on a few facts.
Bro, listen, what type of sensible, decent human being is saying that a mother who just lost her son is trying to profit from his death? What? Listen, man. Even if you're somebody, bro, who think, my God, Flacco, I hate you, Flacco. You are a sensitive liberal, even though I've never identified as a liberal in my life, like, right? Oh my God, Flacco, blah, blah. Oh my God, you guys is race hustling. Okay, cool. You think it's appropriate? You think it's decent for a man to come on a national platform and to say the mother who is actively grieving her 18-year-old son who just died, she is grifting, she is for profit? Y'all think that's a decent thing to do? Bruh, y'all have no decorum, bruh. Y'all are just absolutely disgusting and sick.
Factors, right?
Okay.
There ain't no reason for Al Sharpton to be doing that boy's eulogy when Al never knew him.
That's not even your call or your business.
But what I'm saying is that if I die, my daddy, if I die,
that's you. Respect the family.
Let him speak.
If I get killed,
that family had a choice.
Why?
And who is that? Why is that? They don't have to answer to you. That's not.
They don't. But I have an opinion.
That's that family. I don't even understand why who that family chose to eulogize their fallen son.
What is
any of your business to have any commentary about?
Well, you can't tell me that because
it could have been.
It's not Tatum is not your Tatum. They never asked you for a dime. They never asked you to get involved. They never asked you for anything. You are just a disgusting human. Bro, Tatum, you are the worst human being I've ever witnessed. I don't think I've ever seen a worse human being, bruh. You are trying to humiliate and ridicule a grieving mother. What? 23 days after her 18-year-old son lost his life? The brother is right. The brother is right. It's not your business or any of the white nationalists or white supremacists who worship you business.
Don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me.
Anyone they wanted to.
It don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me for a man that don't even preach sermons to do a eulogy for a boy that he didn't know.
Okay, we're going off the rails, guys. Time out. We're going off the rails. We're going off the rails because, Charles, I know you got to get ready to go. We're running out of time. So I'm just going to give this last question to the both of y'all. Officer Tatum, I'm going to give you the word, and then Charles Coleman, I'm going to give you the last word. What are your expectations of what is going to come of this when all is said and done, based on the evidence that we know? Charles, Officer Tatum, I'll go with you first. Charles, I'll give you the last word.
And I'll try to make this succinct. I think we're going to find that the law enforcement agency did a fair investigation that they did things right all the way through the process, and that none of this will lead to any of what Al Sharpton and them said it was and alluded that it was, and they will get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan, and it will be clean, it will be professional, and it will be the same result without the interference with activists and people out here hoodwinking. I think that they're going to find out what happened to Nolan, and it's not going to be Al Sharpton, it's not going to be Benjamin Crump. It's going to be the law enforcement agencies that go out and do this stuff every single day, that does an investigation, that's going to be forensically looked through the cell phone, that's going to interview 60 people and find out what happened to Nolan. And they're going to be able to say, was it somebody that did something nefarious to Nolan? They're going to be prosecuted. If Nolan drowned, they're going to let the family know he drowned. That's going to be the totality of this investigation, which didn't have nothing to do with this race stuff and had nothing to do with these activists coming out and making money on the death of another black boy.
Charles, I'll give you the last word because I know you got to go.
Sure. Thank you, Stephen A. I don't necessarily know what will come of the case. I am and continue to be invested in the integrity of the process, number one, so that it sets a precedent of getting to the facts and having objective information disseminated to the public in a way that's honest, truthful, and transparent. What I will say is that it's disappointing to sit and listen to Brandon talk about the same type of aspersions being cast on Benjamin Crump, on Al Sharpton, in the same way that they are advocating for answers for Nolan Wells, that he has railed against the same type of characterizations going in reverse. A split mirror image of the type of vitriol that you are decrying against the survivors in this instance being spewed at Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. And I don't necessarily think that gets us anywhere, and it's not productive when you're talking about getting to the bottom of this and understanding what actually happened to Nolan Wells. So for me, I hope that the dialogue can be more tempered, where we're not trying to characterize people in either direction, but we're trying to insist on getting to the bottom of things and looking for the facts.
Spirited discussion, that's what it's all about. Two opposite points of view. But
Bro, Tatum should be embarrassed. Bro, Tatum should be embarrassed. Yo, Tatum got cooked in my.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy shit. Let's listen to one more. It's gonna be a short one, and then I'ma get off because I gotta go. I gotta fucking go.
Officer Tatum is a definition of going outside. Not only is his career and reputation falling apart in real time, but he's basically becoming the internet's new punching bag on both political sides, which to me just comes off like poetic justice, because he's now getting clowned by the same MAGA racists that he was caping for.
He's a fucking idiot. Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Dumbest person I've ever heard.
Not to mention, he keeps exposing himself as a massive hypocrite with
Jew
embarrassing
Almighty.
takes like
Jew
this.
Almighty.
I would never cry for my wife.
Really?
I just would.
Only to turn around and cry for a white racist that attacked the black community.
I'm very angry because
Just like I said,
you don't
I
get
wasn't
your- you
gonna
don't get
bring
your
it
lick
up.
back.
I
This led
wasn't
to
gonna
Auburn
bring up
Preach
that
roasting
video.
him, and then him
Here
turning
we go.
around and crashing out about it.
I have lost all respect for Auburn Preach.
Basically proving every single point they made about him is true.
Can you believe that they laughed at the death of a nurse is so good to me.
And I really think all of this together puts the nail in the coffin for Officer Tatum, which is good because this dork says stuff like this.
When you think about Rosa Parks and what she did, and everybody thinks she's so heroic, do you know Rosa Parks had a car?
Now, I know this channel is super entertaining, but for all the times you get bored, there's a game you can play and get paid for. If you check out the link in the description or scan the QR code, you can sign up for freecash.com and start right away. It's simple, and it only takes a few seconds to create an account with your email and password. Inside, you'll see a wall of games and offers. Pick one you actually enjoy, play through the levels, and the cash lands straight into your free cash account. That's how some users are earning hundreds of dollars on certain offers. And you don't even have to spend anything. Just stick to the free levels and cash out. The whole point is, instead of sitting there scrolling like we all do, you can play games and earn money money at the same time. And when it's time to cash out, you got options, PayPal or gift cards. So if you're curious, hit the link in the description or scan the QR code. Sign up free and start playing for cash in your spare time. And when you use my link or QR code, you get a $5 bonus to kick things off. But I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
Officer Tatum and his opinions on men crying. Let me make sure I know exact. 2 years ago about men crying, he said some interesting things. So why don't we just take a look at that together?
I would say that a lot of women are going to lose attraction for you if you cry in front of them. Weak men are viewed as unattractive. And you can make the argument that crying can be viewed as a weakness.
These podcasts seem so incredibly boring and tired and redundant and lame. Everybody there just looks dead in the eyes.
Men should not show all of their emotions to women, because women judge men very harshly on that.
As a man, if he would have stopped right there, men shouldn't show all of their emotions to a woman. Cool, completely understand. I don't even think he's wrong about that. This isn't all women, but there are some arguments that a man will get in with the woman where they will use whatever stuff he tells them as ammunition in the argument right away. That does actually happen. So if he would have stopped there, added context to it, cool, I completely agree. But what he goes on to say is insane.
I would never cry in front of my wife.
Really?
I just wouldn't.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry in front of my wife if my kid died. I'm her foundation.
If you're married and you're going through something, you should have a safe space and be able to cry in front of your wife. Otherwise, why be married to that person?
I'm her strong point. I'll cry on my own, but if everything is going south, I want my wife to know I'm strong in that situation. I heard a guy say this, is that when my father passes away, which everybody's parent is going to pass away, I'm not going to cry at his funeral. I don't want to cry at his funeral. I want my father to know that I'm strong enough to stand up and have this conversation. I've compartmentalized what has happened.
Crying or having emotions, especially at a funeral of your parent or your child, does not make you less of a man or weak. It actually makes you weak to be concerned of how everybody is looking at you while you're going through a traumatic experience. Not crying when your kid dies or at your father's funeral if you had a relationship with your father is insane.
I'm very angry. Because
he said all that about not crying if his kid died, not crying in front of his wife, not crying at his father's funeral because he wants his father to know that he compartmentalized and is able to handle his emotions, but will cry on camera in front of the world with Charlie Kirk, but not his dad or his kid if they pass.
You don't get your lick back.
This is 4 million views just watching him cry. Not for a family member or a blood relative, but for Charlie Kirk.
For me, you suffer. I think you suffer in silence. That's what I think.
I thought it was meme music at first. I didn't realize this was put up by the Daily Derrick.
So you had men cry in front of you. That's why you're not with it.
Sometimes I look up videos of like army dads coming home and surprising their kids just because I want to cry, and then I'll watch it and I'll cry. And
I've teared up and cried over stuff like that, but I don't.
Not in front of those videos.
I don't do that in front of people. Just imagine you going to war. You got the guy on the front line and he crying.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait a minute, dude. We gonna lose this? Or you?
Yeah.
Like my dude, we would do SWAT hits, and some of the dudes they were tough. They were hard around the edge, man. And you don't see them sweat, and it gives everybody encouragement to be like, man, that's a bad as mother. Then that means I need to be bad.
It's giving gas. Why did Charlie Kirk is my wife say? I gotta be a white daddy.
You stupid.
Checkmate, motherfucker.
I don't mind that he cries for Kirk. That's not what a problem is. Like, you don't feel safe crying in front of your wife. That's probably the only person I feel safe crying about. That's fine. If you don't, that's okay. Your dad would die, and then you're like.
Even with me, I don't support men wearing Crocs at all. It's a masculine thing. I mean, by all means, you can wear them. But for me, I ain't gonna wear them. I feel as though if I'm gonna wear them, my masculinity just drops down low. It's probably just an insecurity. But still, for me to say I will cry in front of my girl, and she seen me cry before. Why not? You cried in front of your mother. You cried in front of your father. So you should be able to cry in front of your woman, bruh. You cried in front of your sister. You cried in front of your brother. You cried in front of your friends. But you can't cry in front of your fucking girl, your woman, the one that you're married to, the one that you're kissing, sexing on, all this other bullshit. You can't cry in front of her, bruh. My girl loves me for the fact that I cried in front of her because I showed her that even though I am vulnerable at this moment, I am able to find comfort in her.
Nah, not even he needs to. He needs to know that I'm strong.
Hey, listen, some of you brothers are not.
Well, Kirk is saying that you a bitch from heaven.
Hey, listen.
That's by that logic. That's crazy.
Some of you brothers are not beating the Zaddy Kirk allegations. I understand what he was saying in the first clip.
Right, that's exactly what I said. Like the first half of that first clip, if he would have stopped at a certain point and kind of elaborated or expounded on that point of why it's good to regulate your emotions or be able to compartmentalize or share certain things with certain people, cool. But what he went on to say was just asinine.
Where, in this traditional sense, some men feel like they can't afford to be emotional in dark times because the people who lean on them will feel destabilized. Like I've heard that narrative before. And it's not entirely without merit. Any woman who would judge you because you cried at your father's funeral is probably not someone you want to be married to.
Facts. Yeah, why would you want to be with somebody that you can't be able to process your emotions with or have an emotional moment or cry? If that person cannot be there for you or you're scared of being judged by that person, then you definitely shouldn't be married to them.
Okay, the idea that like most women out there are gonna hate on you because you cried at your child's funeral, like I don't know, I think that's pretty stupid, and I think it's without merit. I think it's just like caricature of ladies who like see a man cry and their vaginas dry up like the Sahara Desert.
I do believe there are women that would look at a man who's emotional or shows emotion as being weak or being a pussy or a crybaby or mama's boy, whatever the case. But just don't be with those people. Don't date those people. Don't marry a person like that you have to be the Terminator at all times. There are tons of other women that will be a shoulder to lean on, that can help you process your emotions, that will empathize with you and help you get through tough situations.
I say people like that are toxic. You don't want to be around people like that because they want you to be like a certain somebody, and you shouldn't be that certain somebody. Sometimes you have to be that emotional you. Sometimes you got to be the stoic you. Sometimes you gotta be the protective you. Sometimes you gotta be the workplace you, or the funny you, or the baby you, or the child you. You can't just be that one you all the fucking time. There's complexities and volumes of within your personality. So, why you are limited to one of those type of personalities, bruh? It's stupid as shit.
I don't think you guys believe it either. I think it's just something they say online to paint the other side as like this. But
I really don't get it. Like I'm baffled sometimes when I hear you talk about these women that are around you, or it's really just what you see on your algorithm of social media. You need to get out there and touch some grass.
I think it's okay not to cry. No one's saying you have to perform and start doing things on demand because someone died. It's okay not to. I think it's weird to make a rule and tell yourself in the future how you're going to react to the most tragic thing in your life potentially. I'm not going to cry at my wife's funeral because my kids might see it. God forbid your kids see that you're sad. God forbid they see you actually destabilized by the loss of your life partner.
Or imagine how damaging that will be to your kids, that you never show any emotion throughout life when something bad or serious is happening. That will stop them from being able to learn how to deal with and process their emotions.
The few times that I did see my father cry, which is maybe twice in total. There was not a single moment where I thought more of him after the fact. He forgot how to compartmentalize.
You know, you don't get your lick back.
You know, but normally he's very good at putting things in a box and not crying. Normally,
The shirt pull over the face is crazy work.
You don't know how you're gonna act, especially when you grieve. You don't know. Maybe you're not gonna cry now.
yeah.
And then fucking 6 months later, at the grocery store, boom.
When a wave of emotion hits me and I'm like having that experience, I'm like, I never had control to begin with. It's a lot easier to get through it.
I honestly think their video about this subject wasn't that bad. It didn't really attack Officer Tatum like it could have, other than playing the White Zaddy song, which is just a hit anyway. They mostly talked about the facts, about how important it was to be able to process emotions, how important it is for kids to see their parents process emotions, and being with someone that can help you process your emotions more than anything else. But of course, Officer Tatum didn't like that video and responded.
I have lost all respect for I've Been Preach after this video. To take a video from 2 years ago to somehow leverage that to make fun of me for crying, tearing up when Charlie Kirk was murdered is insane.
The time gap when those videos were recorded does not matter. This man went on camera, on a podcast, said he doesn't cry in front of his family, wouldn't cry in front of his wife if his own kid died, and he wouldn't even cry at his father's funeral, just to turn around and boo-hoo, cry, crocodile tears, shirt over his face, hyperventilating about a white man who made his whole platform of talking negative about black people. How does that make sense?
For you to be so disgusting, but to try to make a point to bash a person who had an emotional response to his friend getting assassinated in front of the world.
His whole point on the whatever podcast was that real men don't cry. Crying shows weakness. Men shouldn't cry in front of their wives or children, etc. So that point does align to the criticism and why he looks like a clown just to turn around and cry on camera.
I bet Charlie Kirk and him was in the bed together. I bet. Put a demon face on me. I don't fucking care, bruh. I bet they was doing sodomy in the fucking bed, bruh. I bet. Him and his orgy friends, bruh. They was all in the bed together, bruh. Just having a full-on happy orgy. Cheating on their wives and shit.
Camera in front of millions of people for Charlie Kirk.
I wasn't just a follower of Charlie. He was a friend of mine. I just seen him not too long before he got killed. Just did an event. We just talked backstage at an event. And you see your friend get murdered on television with blood gushing out his neck. I was at his wedding. I know his wife. I could imagine what that does to his kids. And to try to make fun of somebody for that is the lowest that you can go. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, Black Friday is here. Okay. If one of them had lost somebody that they cared about and they teared up on camera, there's no way in the world I'd be making fun of these guys.
But neither of them have ever said that real men shouldn't cry. Neither one of them have ever said that before. He keeps intentionally missing the context of why he's being clowned in the first place.
They're taking a clip from something I said 2 years ago. I believe the same thing today, but something I said a while ago and they put it together.
If he still feels the same way, then what is he crying about? Like, how can he not understand the criticism that he's receiving?
Crying can be viewed as a weakness.
Listen to what he said. That crying could be a weakness. If you're on a battlefield and your first line of command or point guy is crying, what you think that's gonna do to you? And my wife has never seen me cry. I've never cried in front of my wife. And that's where I grew up. You never see me. I never saw my dad cry a day of my life until his father died, until my grandfather died, and my dad was at the funeral. Never seen my dad cry. Never seen my grandmother cry. I saw her cry one time in my life. So this is the perspective that I'm coming from. And then I said, I'll never cry in front of my wife, which I have never cried in front of my wife.
I can say the same thing. The only time I saw my grandfather cry was at my grandmother's funeral. But none of that taught me that crying is soft. Or you can't cry in front of somebody because it makes you look weak. Really, you shouldn't even be with somebody that you can't cry in front of or have an emotional moment in front of without fear of them judging you. If that's the relationship you're in, that's an unhealthy relationship.
I would not want to cry in front of my wife. I will try not to cry in front of my wife. That's what I said. I didn't say I wouldn't cry if my kid died. I said the guy that I admired had said this, that he's not going to cry at his dad's funeral. He wants to be the strong person, and I admired him saying that. This is what I said.
He's doing a weird, like, honesty by omission thing. He went on the podcast and basically agreed with the sentiment that he would not cry cry at his father's funeral because he would want his father to look at him compartmentalizing or not coming to those emotions in front of people as an admirable trait. Now he's saying, well, I didn't say it, somebody else said it, and I was just agreeing with it. It's the same thing.
That's not saying that if the rubber hit the road, you're not gonna cry at your dad's funeral. And I never said that men don't cry. I just said I'm not gonna do it in front of my wife. I go cry on my own, but when stuff hit the road, I need to be strong for my wife.
His whole point on the podcast was agreeing with the sentiment that men crying is perceived as weakness. And then all the examples he gave, whether he said it or not or just agreed with it, was different circumstances that he would not cry in because it did show weakness. And again, him having a full emotional breakdown 2 years later about a white man that died does make it look crazy in retrospect.
And then they take the clip of Charlie Kirk the moment I found out that my friend was dead, that he had died after I saw him get killed on TV. And I thought about his kids and his wife. And so that I just told him, I didn't tell him to cut the feed. But to try to make a joke out of this and to try to act like it's crazy, man. I have cried multiple times because of Charlie's death. The only reason, I could have turned the feed off. The only reason I didn't,
money,
is because I wanted people to understand the raw emotion of what happened with Charlie and that they weren't alone in that.
So he won't cry in front of his wife, but he'll cry in front of a bunch of white people for money.
It's crazy, man, because one day, one of these guys are gonna lose somebody that they care about, and people gonna make fun of them.
No, because they never said real men don't cry, or I wouldn't cry in front of my wife, or I wouldn't cry if my kid died, or I wouldn't cry at my father's funeral. They are not on record, on video, ever saying that, so nobody would make fun of them. And of course, Abba and Preach responded to Tatum's video. So before y'all even say it, yes, this is a reaction of a reaction of a reaction to a reaction. Reactionception, however you want to say it. But this is Abba and Preach's reaction to Tatum.
Sure enough, he found out Charlie Kirk passed and turned on his live stream and decided to drop some tears for everybody.
For the money.
He didn't like that. He was quite upset that we was laughing at that.
But to take a video from 2 years ago, to somehow leverage that to make fun of me.
The point was not, we're not laughing at you because you're the person that you admired died. We laughed at you because of the irony of, okay, you wouldn't cry in front of someone close to you because someone else close to you would die, but someone that is remote, you're gonna cry in front of the whole world. That's the thing that is laughable.
The lowest that you can go. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, black.
Even that threw me off when I was watching Tatum's review at first.
What the hell did I just notice? What happened? What happened? What kind of jump cut was that?
I'm mourning that my nigga, buy my sweatpants so you could stay warm in these cold times.
Don't forget to buy these shirts. Don't forget to buy these shirts.
They're taking a clip from something I said 2 years ago.
Why would you use something from 2 years ago? No, he's trying to hint that there's something wrong with doing that.
Which is not 2 years ago. I believe the same thing today, but
so who cares? So who cares if it was 2 years ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago? If you still believe the same thing, that means that video is still relevant today.
The fake outrage. 2 years ago. Why would you use a clip from 2 years ago? I still think that today. Then shut the fuck up.
That made the whole point of the time gap between the videos irrelevant. It was never relevant in the first place. You said something on camera, unless you came out at a later time to say, I no longer think like this or I agree with it. But the simple fact that he reiterated, yeah, I still believe this. I still feel like this. And what's the point of bringing up the time gaps between the videos?
I said, you know, to be fair to him, this video was from 2 years ago. Maybe he changed his opinion. And his dumb ass, no, I didn't change my opinion. I still think this, but how could you? Watch how cowardly he's going to be. He just doesn't want to own what he's.
You say you had men cry in front of you. That's why you're not with him.
Sometimes I look up videos of like army dads to make.
So you heard that? He said to the woman, oh, you saw a man cry in front of you? That's not why you're not with them.
They were trying to say that a man showing emotion was weakness, that a man crying was weakness. So his whole response and fake outrage that he had to Abba and Preach, laughing at him, doesn't make sense. Because that's literally what he was saying. Just to turn around and cry on camera, crocodile tears, boo-hoo for Charlie Kirk. How do you not see the hypocrisy in that?
Implying that, you know, something is wrong with men crying.
I would never cry in front of my wife.
You see him say could there? And he would say he would never, and he says women judge men for that.
But I admired the guy that said the reasons why he wouldn't cry, because he needs to be strong for his father. I will try not to cry in front of anybody. There's compulsion for me to cry at times, and I will not do it in front of people.
So you think if a man shows his emotion makes him less man?
No, I just think men shouldn't do it.
It is mentally ill to believe it's normal to not cry in front of your wife, but it's normal to cry on the internet. Sorry, that's weird.
Super weird.
Now, I could be generous and say I agree with the sentiment that during a time of crisis, you know, you guys are in the heat of battle, you guys are dealing with something that's an emergency, that you're going to put aside your emotions to deal with what's in front of you. That's a super normal statement.
The question was, if your kid died, would you cry? And he said he would not cry in front of his wife, which isn't how normal, healthy people grieve. And I would say not being able to grieve with your wife would probably hurt your relationship further because it seems like you don't care.
The problem with a lot of these characters like Tatum is that they live in absolutism because they're like doing this like alpha male, very strong man, like super traditional fucking cosplay. And it's just not real. It's not in real life. Police officers deal with situations that are completely crazy. And you see them run off to the corner because something is traumatic and they cry. And if you think that other men are like, we can't do our job because one officer over there is tearing, that's not real. And that's why people are laughing at you. It's because you're trying to uphold this image of men that's not real. Men are human. We deal with stressful situations the way that you were dealing with Charlie Kirk. And sometimes we break down. And we can't control it the way you're pretending you can.
Not only that, he was talking like he was a Terminator, basically. Like he just would not cry and it was weakness to cry. And if anybody sees you cry, they won't respect you anymore. And that's not realistic at all, especially not in the real world where people are really going through things.
That's what's absurd. Y'all cry on the internet, but you won't cry in front of your loved ones. And you think that's not mentally unwell. I just think this standard of like, I won't cry in front of the people who've known me my whole life, but I'll cry for strangers. If my wife will be destabilized because she sees me.
Does Tatum's wife not watch his videos? Because if he won't cry in front of her for a huge loss in the family, but will cry on the internet, she's still seeing him cry over something less meaningful to her. So the respect still goes out the window the same according to him.
What I understand from this is this. You lied. Or you thought you was that one and you're not. Kid would die, you would cry.
You're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
If you cried for that, you would cry for your family.
This is how you dodge accountability. You frame it against the argument that you know you think you can win against, which is like moral outrage. So to pretend like people just want to laugh at you because you cried, that's you just being a victim. You enjoy that because it's the one road you can win down. You didn't mention any of the things that we said, which is fine. You just went, oh, can you believe that they laughed at the death of and NASA is so good to me. And it's funny to me because I grew up in this internet age where I heard how fucking emotional libtards are and everything like that. But you realize like these motherfuckers, they all love to do this victim shit whenever they get criticized.
Conservatives and racists in general love to bully people and call everybody else a victim. But then when it's turned around on them and they're called out and clowned, all of a sudden they're the victims and everybody's being mean to them. It's really fraudulent behavior.
I've never cried in front of my wife.
If she watched your video, she literally saw you cry on video in front of millions of people.
You think that the whole internet saw you, dude? The person that is the most close to you is not gonna see it, but you're gonna expose yourself like an up-and-coming model to everybody else.
I just laughed at how many reactions were on screen. Alba and Preach reacting to Tatum. Tatum reacted to Alba and Preach. Alba and Preach reacted to Tatum, reacted to Alba and Preach, reacted to Tatum, and then me reacted to all of that.
I'm not gonna cry at his funeral. So as you listen to it, I said I saw a clip of a guy say that I'm not gonna cry at my dad. I didn't say I wasn't gonna cry at my dad's funeral.
Is your wife not going to be at your dad's funeral?
No. You know why?
So he's trying to walk back the statement, right? He's doing this cowardly thing where he's trying to run away from what he said. He's like, no, I never said I wouldn't cry at my dad's funeral. Okay, well, what if your wife's there? What, are you going to run and hide in a corner to cry at your dad's? If you guys aren't aware, so Charlie Kirk was in the hospital after getting shot. People didn't even know if he passed away yet, but he was in critical condition. This man jumped on a live stream to talk about it. Everyone's different. Personally, if my good friend Preach gets shot, I ain't gonna run to you niggas to talk about it. I don't know. I'm not selling t-shirts right after. Everyone's different though. Grieve however you want.
I am. Hey, all right? You get it?
That is weirdo behavior, right? If you're really somebody's friend and if you find out they've been shot or in critical condition and you hop on live stream or you continue a live stream to cry and have a full breakdown and then monetize that video or don't clip out that part, that is 100% weirdo, manipulative, greedy behavior.
Now he's saying he finds the news out and he starts crying and now he's like, yeah, the reason why I allowed myself to cry on stream is because like I knew people were sad and I knew like right when they all found out, like I found out, they needed to see me tear up. Don't make it this convoluted thing. Don't try to treat yourself like a hero.
Yeah.
You were human. You found out some bad news. You cried.
That's being generous. I don't think he was human, found out some bad news and cried. I think he knew he could monetize that moment and make a lot of money because a lot of people were agreeing with that emotion and that sentiment, especially as soon as it happened. Simple as that. So all the morals and the strong men don't cry or crying is weakness went out the window when that happened, and he realized how much money he could make.
So you want to give that emotion to strangers. You want to make sure that they know that they're not alone, that they're suffering. You understand it.
Thank you.
But not your wife if your child died. A bunch of relatives will be going through it and really grieving and probably need not only a shoulder to cry on, but also somebody to grieve with.
Your wife who's lost the same child you just lost, you won't cry in front of her. Make that make sense, guys. I'll tell y'all, these people will just rewrite narratives. They'll rewrite reality. They don't care. And they'll just start rolling with the lie and try to have you argue with their lies. What he said is just made up. Nobody laughing at you because you're mourning somebody. I never liked Officer Talman. I know he's getting his checks from Israel and AIPAC, to sell out his own country. So, good for him. But, yeah, dude has always struck me as a bit of a dummy. And this is just...
Well, you just proved it right there.
At the end of the day, Officer Tatum, just like all of these other black conservatives, are clowns who really don't even believe the principles that they preach. Like not crying and showing emotions in front of your wife just to turn around and cry for 4 million people. It's ridiculous. He deserves all the jokes and smoke that he's getting from all directions right now. But shout out to my channel members. I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you check out the next video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Same for me. You already know. Shout out to my subscribes also. Hopefully y'all come back. Hey, yeah, I gotta get ready for get ready to go to my job. So yeah, I see y'all. I will come out with some more updates if anything comes through. Hey, yeah, Death is out.